for a touchdown. Go empty here. Four-man rush again with a spy. And then you got a lateral, and it's going to be inside Texas territory with Shakir.
All right, a Friday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Michael Darcy, we head up until 2 o'clock. The next 4 hours, we've got you. An hour from now, we will talk with Matt Derrick. Chiefs Digest 41 is the Mike podcast. Coming up at noon, we will talk with Kendall Gammon. To the victor go the spoils. Not sure what those spoils are. Don't think we ever really decided on what those spoils were.
Very convenient.
Thank goodness we didn't. Let's decide after the game, Kendall. Let's see what happens, and then we can make that old bet. Let me stop the show. I'm just looking at it. Oh, Northwest just fumbled again. Okay, great. Don't think they're going to recover that one either. But Kendall Gammon will join us at noon, world's greatest long snapper. We will hang out with him, talk about this Chiefs team, get ready for the Indianapolis Colts, a massive game that we've been talking about throughout this week. And the special teams was a big conversation yesterday with Dave Tobe, and certainly was a big conversation on Monday after the special teams issues continued with this Kansas City Chiefs team. So we will talk with Kendall Gammon coming up at noon. Nick Schaefer joins us at 12:30. Andy Reid, a fast Friday at 1 o'clock, cuts before the show is over. 913-912-4810 is the text line to join us. 913-912-4810, text line to be a part of the show, part of the conversation. We start off with last night's Thursday Night Football, and what I find interesting is I would go back and forth on who I was actually rooting for last night, because it was like, okay, if the Bills lose, okay, it's closer for the Chiefs to then have a better record than the Bills, although they have the tiebreaker and the Chiefs have struggled, and it's really just about making the playoffs right now and not really who cares about seeding. Hopefully you get to that point later on in the season when seeding can become a big factor for this team, but right now it's not the case. But it was just you go back to what was a familiar feel of just rooting against the Bills. And then as the game is going back and forth, I'm like, actually, it benefits the Chiefs more if the Texans would lose this game, because it would help the Chiefs being closer to making the playoffs, if that was the case. And, of course, in a day where you feel like maybe the Bills winning would help the Chiefs, they go out there and they lose. And you watch this Texans team, and that defense is scary. There's no getting around that. Chiefs will play the Texans in a few weeks, so they will see up close and personal what it's like to go up against that front. Hopefully the Chiefs' offensive line is healthy when they go up against that Houston Texans defense. And we'll see what that Houston Texans offense can do against the Kansas City Chiefs, because last night against a Bills defense that has continued to struggle, which adds to, by the way, I think the frustration that people have in that this Bills defense continuing to struggle, yet the Chiefs not scoring to the degree that we've seen these other teams score since the Chiefs played the Bills. You've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that score, 32 points? Last night, Davis Mills goes out there and plays like that. And also part of the frustration is, last year it was a Bills team that never turned the football over. And this year, in the last 3 games, the Bills have turned it over 9 times. 9 times. They have 9 turnovers in the last 3 games. They had 0 against the Chiefs. So, of course, you get into that. But there's always this feeling like even if it were to benefit the Chiefs, I'm not sure that I ever find myself rooting for the Bills to win. Like there was last night, it's like sort of a satisfaction of like, all right, the Bills lost. I'm good with that. But what I watched was, remember when I think it was Kirk Cousins that said on the set before the Chiefs played, ironically enough, the Texans in the playoffs last year in the divisional round. I think that's when it was. And Kirk Cousins said, I'm sitting there watching Patrick Mahomes play, and, I'm around my kids, and I'm watching Mahomes play, and I'm like, I feel like we're playing a different sport. And he's talking about himself, Kirk Cousins, and Patrick Mahomes. I feel like it's a different sport that we're playing. And I watched the Texans' defensive line, And I feel like it's just a completely different sport than what the Chiefs' defensive line is playing, because they are so incredibly dominant. I mean, Josh Allen running for his life last night, 8 sacks last night. Never got comfortable in the pocket. Part of the turnovers that were there. And it's just so great. You know, we watch it up close and personal, and people that are not watching it from our perspective like to gaslight people around here. You know, when the Chiefs won in 2022, and Travis Kelce said, not Nan, one of y'all thought we were going to be here. And everybody believed in you. You're the Chiefs. Da-da-da. When all summer people were saying the Chiefs were toast, they were done. They traded Tyreek Hill. It's over. And then they went and won the Super Bowl, and people were gaslighting. And then we see last year with the old bones of DeAndre Hopkins and Juju Smith-Schuster, rookie Xavier Worthy, injured Rashee Rice, injured Hollywood Brown, even when healthy later on in the season, Hollywood Brown. We see those guys, and Patrick, and we know a worse last year Travis Kelce than he is this year. Yet last year there was no excuse for how Mahomes played, how the offense was, performing, the struggles of the offense. Too bad Mahomes has regressed. And then last night, I see a lot of the conversation of, well, what's Josh Allen supposed to do? He's got no weapons. I mean, who's he supposed to throw to? He's throwing to Khalil Shakir. He's throwing to Dawson Knox. He's throwing to Shavers. He's throwing to Palmer. Gabe Davis is on the practice squad. I agree with all of that. It's just an interesting part of the grace that's given and excuses that are given, grading on a curve for other teams while grading on the inverse of that curve for a particular team. And that's fine. That's the perception that's out there. But the difference is, like, when that takes place, when that happens, and today, if there's a conversation, I haven't seen much, but I saw one article that was like, is the Bills' dominance over the AFC East over? And I thought, we read those things all summer. And the position the Chiefs are in are the think pieces and columns that are out there about the Chiefs' dominance and dynasty being over is coming after a 6-year run where they went to 5 Super Bowls and won 3 of them. And the questions around the Bills and maybe their run of dominance in the East and being a 1 or 2 seed is over is coming after 4 losses in the playoffs to the Chiefs. And there's the massive difference between the two. We can get annoyed and frustrated about what we're watching with this Chiefs team, but we're watching it through the lens of 3 consecutive Super Bowls. We used to watch it through the lens of not winning a playoff game. We used to watch it through the lens of Arrowhead is no longer a home field advantage in the playoffs. In fact, was it ever? Beating the Steelers was amazing in 93/94. But then you lose to the Colts, you lose to the Broncos, you lose to the Colts. Like, it was game after game after game, losing in the playoffs. It's like, I thought Arrowhead was this crazy atmosphere that teams don't walk in and win. Yet in the playoffs, they did. Tennessee, Pittsburgh, reverse that, but Pittsburgh, Tennessee, and the Chiefs aren't winning at home. And they face the Colts, and those things change with Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. And that's the lens we view it through, as opposed to some of the other teams that have been dominant are viewing it through, good God, can we get back to a Super Bowl? Has the Bills' window of a cheap Josh Allen passed them by with a defense that isn't good enough and weapons that aren't good enough and now an offensive line that's breaking down? And I'll tell you this, if the Bills are going to be any threat this year, and I'm not talking about just to the Chiefs, I'm talking about in the playoffs or making a Super Bowl. If the Bills are going to be any threat this year, they better hope James Cook stays healthy. Because there are 2 players on that team that they cannot afford to lose. And I thought maybe they lost one of them last night for a decent amount of time. Josh Allen, I thought he broke his collarbone. When he landed, he's rolling around, and he started pointing to, like, the top of his chest, left side. It's like, I'm like, oh my God, he either subluxed or dislocated his shoulder or he broke his collarbone the way that elbow landed first, his left elbow, and then Will Anderson lands on top of him. Josh Allen has taken a couple of big hits this year where he's been slow to get up because he's had to be the guy that carries that offense. We see Josh Allen. I see Josh Allen playing, and it reminds me of the last couple of years and earlier this year of Patrick Mahomes, where the entire offense was based on his shoulders. Difference is Josh Allen and the Bills actually handed off to their dynamic running back. Chiefs don't have one of those, but the Bills do that to the degree that if you're scoring at home, you might be surprised to find out who leads the NFL in rushing attempts. I wonder how many people right now could say on November 21st, waking up on a Friday, November 21st, around the league, what running back leads the NFL in attempts? It's James Cook in Buffalo. He is 30 carries away from his career high. That's a game and a half. Meaning, December 7th against Cincinnati, he's probably going to match his career high with 4 more games to play. Now, we look at it through the lens of baseball and pitchers and innings and pitch count. And, boy, they're going to break down. You know what running backs do? They break down. But that's the problem with what the Bills have and the excuses giving to Buffalo about they don't have weapons that you can rely on, and so it has to be Allen and Cook, the entire driving force, and they have to go out there and score a lot of points because the defense isn't good enough. The problem is Josh Allen has been slow to get up a couple of times. He's starting to get sacked a decent amount, 8 of them last night. And you can't just simply feed over and over and over and over and over a guy who's 5'11", 185 in James Cook. He can't lead the league in rushing attempts and expect him to stay healthy. Now, he doesn't take as many big hits as, say, Isaiah Pacheco. And he hits some home runs where he doesn't get hit at all, like last night on that, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, whatever it was. But that long touchdown run for James Cook. I said it earlier this year, and I'll continue to say it. James Cook is an enormous part of what the Buffalo Bills do. And they are relying on him. It's like the Guardians in 2024 when they had one of the best bullpens, but by God, those innings that they put on the bullpen throughout the entire season, you're like, are those guys going to break down? They didn't. And I'm not saying James Cook is. But the more and more tread you put on the tire, the more likely it is for that guy to suffer some sort of an injury, an ankle sprain, a soft tissue injury here or there, and he is so vital to the Bills. The Bills are living on the edge of their season collapsing or their chances of winning a Super Bowl this year collapsing. The Chiefs are living on the edge of even making the playoffs. We know that. What feels like the difference between the two, besides the record and the head-to-head matchup, is that Patrick Mahomes is, for the most part, being protected. They have better weapons than the Bills do. The Chiefs' defense is better than Buffalo, which is the absurdity of this entire week's conversation that we've seen, that Bo Nix outplayed Patrick Mahomes. Well, Bo Nix outplayed Patrick Mahomes. The better quarterback on the field that day was Bo Nix over Patrick Mahomes. I don't know. Were they both facing the same defense? Because I'm pretty sure Patrick Mahomes was going up against the Broncos defense, and Bo Nix was going up against the Chiefs defense that gives up yards, that is not nearly as successful in third down situations that we've seen in the past. 3rd and 15s are converted. 3rd and 5 when nobody guards Cortland Sutton. Well, Bo Nix outplayed Patrick Mahomes. Switch the quarterbacks and see if it's still a 3-point game. Flip the quarterbacks. Put Mahomes on the Broncos and Bo Nix on the Chiefs. Is it still 19-16? Is it 22-16? Or 22-19? Is that the final? That's my annoyance on the, Bo Nix outplayed him. Yeah. if we're only looking at it in a vacuum of what Mahomes did against the Broncos defense, the number 2 defense in the NFL behind the Texans, or what Bo Nix did against the Chiefs defense, that we have said has had some problems this year and cannot pressure the quarterback whatsoever. There's a vast difference, and it's the same thing with that 13-second game in the divisional round. The Buffalo Bills were one of the best defenses in DVOA that we had seen in the last 10 years going into that game. The Chiefs defense was, I think, 11 or 12. They weren't terrible. They were good enough to go and win a Super Bowl. They lost to the Bengals the next week in a tragedy of a second half. It was a tragic sham mockery of the second half in that Bengals game. But Mahomes did that against one of the best defenses we'd seen and the best defense in the NFL that year, while Josh Allen did it against top half defense, but not top 10 for the Kansas City Chiefs. Yet Josh Allen's the better quarterback on that day. People don't live in the context, nuanced world of what we're watching out there on the field. And what we're watching with the Bills is a team that is living on the edge of heading in the wrong direction while not having Lombardi trophies to lean on.
And that's the perfect point. Like, they are the Chiefs without the trophies. They make the deep
or Super
playoff
Bowl appearances recently.
Well, they've been to a lot of Super Bowls. They just haven't won them.
I was 13 years old when that happened. My son is 10. So,
been a while.
Yes, it's been a little bit.
But going back to that Bo Nix point, I think the most frustrating thing from that loss is seeing everybody crown Bo Nix for having this great game when he's only ever put the Broncos in a position to win on a field goal. We act like he just overplays and outplays Mahomes every time. This game, if Mahomes goes down the field with 4 minutes left and scores, we're not talking about Bo Nix. We're not talking about that defense at all. But, Bo Nix made the plays when he needed to, but let's not act like he was a world beater out there.
Bo Nix made the plays when he needed to with open guys and concepts that are head-scratching for Steve Spagnuolo. But, just watching it through the lens last night of how we view these teams, I really wonder what the Bills are going to look like moving forward. And I am not predicting the demise of the Buffalo Bills because I believe there are 3 teams in the AFC right now that I don't care what team is in the playoffs and playing at home. If the Chiefs, the Bills, or the Ravens are the team that you're playing at home, you're not comfortable in that one. And I'd put it in that order as well. Chiefs, Bills, Ravens. Because the Ravens have obviously had their troubles in the postseason. But you don't want to take your chance against a team that's been there a lot. Whereas if Indianapolis is playing a home game, they've got Daniel Jones that has a playoff win on his resume. I think that was his rookie year, right? That was Brian Daboll's first year. Rookie year, second. It was Brian Daboll's first year. They won a playoff game.
And that was
surprisingly.
the game that got him paid.
Yeah, and then the next week he got impaled. he got him paid and then impaled the next week when they lost by like 30 or whatever. If you're heading to New England, Drake May's been awesome, but that would be his first playoff game. It would be at Gillette, and he would have the ghost of Tom Brady playoff performances all around him. This is your first opportunity to see what you do in the playoffs, and I'll be damned. You better be awesome, because if you go out there and lose a game in the playoffs because of a mistake you made, you know who never made a mistake in the playoffs now, looking back? Tom Brady. Tom Brady in New England is becoming what people say Michael Jordan was. Jordan was never lost in the finals, but he did lose games. Never lost in the finals, right, but there were plenty of years he didn't get there. He took the 2 years off, except for the second year he came back and had better points, rebounds, and assists in the playoffs, and they lost, than he did the next 3 years in the second three-peat when he came back. But that's what Tom Brady is now. Drake May will be playing a playoff game with everybody remembering what Tom Brady was like in the playoffs. Only their mind is like that great relationship in the past. You don't remember any of the bad stuff. It's all the great stuff. It's all how kumbaya it was. It was the greatest relationship we've ever had. Why didn't it work out? Then you get back together and you go, oh, that's right. That's why it didn't work out. We aren't a good match. Why didn't it work out? For the Patriots, it clearly worked out. But there were plenty of times when Patriots fans were ready to move on. Remember the think pieces that were written about Jimmy Garoppolo needs to take over for Tom Brady. Do you stay with Tom Brady and move on from Jimmy Garoppolo, who could be the next Tom Brady? Or do you move on from Brady and restart the clock and just go from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers? Do you do that? That was a thing that took place. And then they trade Jimmy Garoppolo. And then they go and win some Super Bowls after that. Like, I'm not, if I'm New England, Pittsburgh, although they have more of a track record and Aaron Rodgers is there. But really it's sort of like Denver, New England, Indianapolis, those division leaders right now. If you're sitting at home and you're getting ready to play a home playoff game and it's the Chiefs, the Bills, or the Ravens, you're not sitting around feeling comfortable. Even as excited as Denver Broncos fans are right now, and they should be, they're going to win the division. All right, they've earned it. They came into Kansas City last year and played a phenomenal game. Shocked me at how close it was. Chiefs got away with one, schematic blocked kick, whatever you want to say, made the plays when it mattered. But that football goes in probably 95 times out of 100. It didn't that day, and it cost them the game. And then they played the way they did on Sunday. But we can also look at that and say, if the Chiefs head to Denver in the playoffs, you know what the difference is between Sunday and that game in the future? It means the Chiefs would have had to play some really good football to get there, which means they're playing at a different level than they did last Sunday. Now, maybe the Broncos have raised their game too. We'll find out. But if the Chiefs do the rest of these final 7 games, what some have predicted, what a lot of people around here are holding their breath that they can do, that means they played good football and went at minimum 5-2 down the stretch, or 6-1 and 7-0. And there ain't a team in the playoffs that will be playing at home that'll go, cool, we got the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. Because you'll be getting the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes off a 6-1 stretch or a 5-2 stretch, in which they would have beaten playoff teams or teams competing for the playoffs. That's not a comfortable feeling. I don't know what the Bills will look like at that time. The Bills have a more difficult schedule the rest of the way than the Chiefs do, because the Chiefs have a lot of these games at home. The Bills are going to Pittsburgh this weekend. Well, next weekend, you get the point. They play Cincinnati at home with what is expected to be a Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow may play on Sunday, but he has talked about their target date was on Thanksgiving against the Ravens. That's the target date that Joe Burrow has set from the time he left the field and got his prognosis. It was the Ravens on Thanksgiving, to the point that he may play the Sunday before that. I don't think that'll happen if they're targeting for Thanksgiving. Do you put him out there a few days earlier, or do you put him out there a few days earlier and say, why don't you get the rust knocked off just a little bit, before you go and play the Ravens? You're playing the Patriots this weekend, and then the Ravens on Thanksgiving. But the Buffalo, and so Buffalo has the Bengals. That's a home game, but they go to Pittsburgh. They play Cincinnati at home. Then they go to New England. That's a New England game at home, like the Broncos and Chiefs. That New England game on December 14th will be Chiefs and Broncos from last Sunday. New England will be playing to win the division and to get back atop the East and say, we are now the big dogs in this division, and Buffalo's the one trying to scratch and fight and claw to get to the playoffs and get back and keep themselves alive. And that's a New England team that already went to Buffalo and won 23-20. They head to Cleveland. They should win that game. But then they get the Eagles at home. The Eagles might be fighting for the number 1 seed against the Rams at that point on December 28th.
They're also just a better football team.
Yeah. Then they get the Jets at home, and that should be a win. There are a couple of games in there that you look at and go, those should be wins. At Cleveland and home to New York. Problem is, at Cleveland, there is a freaking monster over there that will terrorize Josh Allen the way that Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson did last night. And the problem with Cincinnati is if some things break in their favor this weekend, if Burrow doesn't play, they can look at the schedule and go, if we win out, we give ourselves a chance like we did last year. We'll see. It's just the final 7 games is going to be an amazing sprint to the finish line. Chris Jones has called it a marathon, and enjoy the marathon. It's not a marathon anymore. It's a sprint to the finish line to see who will get there, and you better have some wins along the way. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. I'll talk about the symbolic victory for the Kansas State Wildcats last night, what last night meant, and why it not only felt different, it was perfectly symbolic and also symmetrical to a degree as to where we are with Kansas State now versus what we've seen with Jerome Tang the last couple of years. We'll get into that next. You know, we're only a few weeks in, and the NBA season is already wild. Stars are going off, rookies making noise, and the action does not stop. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is where you can get in on all of it. Sterling ain't here today, but if he was, he probably would have interrupted my intro there about, whoa, 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 whoa. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills here. Why are we not talking about Tyrese Maxey? Allen Iverson. Tyrese Iverson in those jerseys, Allen Maxey, AI, TM. Why are we not talking about? That's what we would have heard from Sterling there if that was the case. Maybe you were all over Tyrese Maxey in feeling like, they got some these uniforms breaking out tonight. He was phenomenal and showing that he is growing into being a star in the NBA. Hopefully you had that. But don't forget the Emirates NBA Cup is rolling along. Big moments, big matchups, and a whole lot on the line. Don't miss out. Jump in and bet on the action today. New customers bet just $5 and get $200 if your bet wins. That is paid in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code 810WHB. That's code 810WHB. Bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, Kansas only. Eligibility and restrictions apply. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Michael Darcy. We head up until 2 o'clock. Coming up at 11 o'clock, we will hang out with Matt Derrick. Chiefs Digest 41 is the Mike podcast. At noon, we will talk with Kendall Gammon, world's greatest long snapper and proud gorilla. After last Saturday's massive upset. Massive upset. Nobody in the world thought they could win that game. Huge. Massive upset. What an epic giveaway. I mean, the better team lost that game, clearly. I'm coping, everybody. All right? It's called a cope. I learned about coping on Twitter. Because if you say something, it's like, you cope. Why don't you cope? You should cope more. I want to talk about K-State here for a little bit before we hear from Lee Sterling with Todd Lebo. And watching last night's game, I felt was pretty symbolic, as I've said, that they do what they did to Mississippi State last night. And I said before the Cal game, and this should have been true in the Cal game if they hadn't blown that huge lead. And I said, K-State only getting, 6.5 against Cal. And I said, this is Vegas this early on hasn't adjusted to what K-State is. And they were leading by, 25 at one point in that game? They win by 3 because they just stopped playing basketball. And Cal started hit 8 threes or whatever it was. It was stupid. But they were that good that night to dominate Cal. Only win by 3, but dominate Cal. And they went into last night's game against Mississippi State, and they were underdogs. And as I talked about yesterday, that I'm not sure why they continue to be underdogs against these teams they're going up against, that Vegas hasn't adjusted. They were the dogs, and they won by 21 points last night. Finishing the game, and this is what we talked about after that Cal game with K-State. This is what could be encouraging and exciting for Wildcat fans, is that what they did against Cal, they clearly learned the lesson, right? Isn't that one of the takeaways from last night's game? Is that what happened in the final 5 minutes against Cal was a lesson learned, and K-State, not only did they not let up, they put the foot on the gas pedal and they put the foot on the throat and ran away from Mississippi State. And from getting points to winning by 21. And yet, they are a 1.5 underdog tonight against Nebraska at home, or at T-Mobile. They are the underdogs yet again. Now, Ken Pom thinks Nebraska is better than Kansas State. K-State's 48, Nebraska's 40, according to Ken Pom. Ken Pom has it as a 2-point win for Nebraska tonight. K-State's a 1.5 dog, so right in line with that. Typically, by the way, if you want to know what lines are going to look like, look at Ken Pom's ratings and their predictive score. It's right around what the line's going to be. And by the way, his prediction is that it's going to be 170 points with Nebraska winning by 2. And Vegas has the line as K-State plus 1.5 with 169.5. It's a half point away from what Ken Pom has it. But what I think is happening, and what we've talked about with Ken Pom before, we talked about this with Cynthia Freeland, is that it doesn't get it, not until late December and early January, are preseason biases that have to be included in the algorithm to spit out the number of what you think is going to happen, freshmen coming in, that's still baked into the numbers until you get into late December, early January. So is Kansas State the 48th best team in America right now? According to Ken Pom, they are. But I don't think that's the case. Now, maybe Nebraska isn't the 40th best team in America. Maybe Nebraska and the numbers baked in with them is still underrating them. But the symbolism of last night was K-State fans remembering last year and what happened at T-Mobile. It wasn't until, December, mid-December when they had just lost to St. John's, and then they played at T-Mobile against Drake. And they lose in overtime. Ben Sinnott was awesome, and it was the early parts of us seeing, how good Ben McCollum is at the Division I level, which a lot of us had been saying for a long time. But that loss was like, oh my God, you lost to St. John's. That's okay, explainable. Then you lose to Drake. But then what happened 4 days later was getting blown out by Wichita State. And that was a problem. Because then at that point you knew, oh bleep, this team ain't good. This team's got real problems. This team is going to have to scratch and claw to make the tournament. And what I find appropriate about last night is that at that same location, K-State goes out there as the underdogs and says, we're not last year's team. We're so much better, and Vegas has yet to adjust. They're underdogs again tonight against Nebraska. Now, Nebraska's undefeated as well, and they beat Oklahoma at home by 5 or 6. And what could be one of the more entertaining games tonight. One of the more entertaining games in basketball. If you've got nothing to do tonight, head down to T-Mobile at 8:30 for that tip with Nebraska and K-State, because you've got two of the best scoring teams in America, three-point shooting teams in America. Nebraska is fast up and down the floor. They shoot a ton of threes. They put 105 on Oklahoma. They put 84 on New Mexico yesterday. K-State's one of the better scoring teams. They're one of the better three-point shooting teams in America, number 5 in American three-point shooting. And I said Iowa State because Fred Hoiberg. Nebraska, sorry Husker fans, Nebraska is a Fred Hoiberg team of lots of threes. Shooting threes, getting the threes up. They've got 4 guys on their team that shoot almost 5 threes per game, and all of them over 40%. Like, they are a team that's going to chuck the threes and make the threes. Lawrence is shooting 52% from behind the arc on 23 attempts so far in 5 games. Sanford is shooting 40% from behind the arc on 36 attempts. Mast is shooting 45% on 20 attempts in 5 games. They're chucking them up, man. And they're making them. Tonight's going to be incredibly entertaining. Sorry, Wildcat fans, but give me the Wildcats. I don't think Vegas has adjusted to what K-State is yet. I said that against Cal, and they blew that lead. Said it yesterday before Mississippi State, and they were 2.5-point dogs, and they won by 21. And now they're dogs again tonight, where it's going to be a more home crowd. Nebraska fans will be there, but I think there's going to be more purple and lavender there in the area, in the arena, because of how this K-State team is playing. If this was last year's K-State team, you might go, you know what, we got tickets, but I don't even know that we're going to go. I don't want to be bored and disappointed watching that game. Not this team. Not with P.J. Haggerty dropping 37 last night, 8 assists, 7 rebounds, and averaging almost 30 points per game for K-State so far. Not with this team burying threes. Not with Nate Johnson playing the way that he is, a two-way player. This team is fun. And I think they take care of business with Nebraska again tonight as yet another underdog. And I do think in a couple of weeks, Vegas will have adjusted and the money won't be there for you to get on K-State's games. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Lee Sterling, Todd Lebo coming up next.
deciding who wins.
Welcome back into the zone on this Red Friday. Huge Red Friday for the Kansas City Chiefs. They've got the Indianapolis Colts coming to town in a monster game. We'll talk about that and some big college games coming up with Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports as Dovember rolls on, Lee. And I know you've been having a great time in the National Football League, but we got good college football going on too right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best time of year. So if you have some relatives coming up, you don't want to spend a whole lot of time with them or kind of pay attention, listen in one ear, and the other ear you got to tune in on the game and your eyes locked in on all these games coming up. They can get every single game, 10 days from today all the way through the end of the month. It's not November. We call it Dovember. 10 days, normally $3.97. They use coupon code SAVE200. They put that in the checkout box when they check out. Just $197. That's our phone service where we rate them from 10 to 50 units. And been on a roll. We've won each of the last 3 weeks on Saturday and Sunday. Also destroying the MAC. We're 5-1 in the MAC. So I know they're not real interesting, some of these games, but a winner's a winner. So they want to hop on board. And then the NFL's been king for us this year. 33-11-1 record last 9 weeks in the NFL. You can get 5 games texted to you by Friday at 12 noon, and you're going to get 5 games for 4 weeks, just $197. It's called Lee's NFL Sunday Golden Ticket, 33-11-1. No one can touch that record this year in the NFL.
Lee Sterling, and we're going to go over some games here. These aren't necessarily games on your service, but I will let people know. 5-0 last Friday, which is a nice thing to be. Let's start this off in a big game for the Kansas Jayhawks. They're up in Ames. Early game. You can hear it on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Kind of a must-win for the Jayhawks. They're trying to still get bowl eligible, but Iowa State's about a 4-point favorite.
Yeah, and two teams, a little disappointing. Obviously, Iowa State had that great start, and finally they get the win last week, so they are bowl eligible. Quarterback play has not been great. If you look at the stats and what Kansas has done, you're like thinking, wow, this team should be much, much better than what they are, but just hasn't worked out, and that happens sometimes. So, I just don't understand. Sometimes, those 1 or 2 plays have flipped games, and Jalen Daniels, I don't know if we've ever seen a quarterback, 21 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and the team is mediocre at best. Riley Beck, 7 interceptions in his last 4 games. I think that I think he's finally turned it around. I like Iowa State at home here, 30-21.
Yeah, it's a tough one for KU to try to get that one. K-State's in a tough spot as well. They're on the road. They're out at Utah. Utah has beaten the teams they're better than by a bunch.
Right.
They have not beaten the teams that they're not quite as good as because they've lost to BYU and they lost to Texas Tech. But they're better than K-State. But are they 17.5 points better than K-State?
Yeah, Avery Johnson is going to have a really good game, running and throwing the football. I know he aspires to be an NFL quarterback, but he's going to have to do everything. And I know sometimes he just loves sitting in the pocket and showing off his arm, but he's going to have to run. Yeah, I think they're going to have to win the turnover battle by at least 2 to be in this game here. And I just don't see it. I don't think his weapons are good enough. Like you mentioned, Utah, they beat the average to bad teams, and they do it big. They are just so good at home here. I didn't like what Chris Kleiman said after the game. I think he meant something else, but he said, quote, unquote, I'm not apologizing for a win in Stillwater because it's dang hard to win here. OSU is 0-5 at home this year versus Division I opponents. They've lost the Big 12 games by 18, 22, and 32 points. 0-4 in the Big 12 games last year. Wait till he gets a hold of how loud it's going to be here and how tough it is to win in Rice-Eccles. Really tough place. I've been there. It gets crazy. I think Utah is the right side. Hate to say it, 38-13 over Kansas State.
Yeah, K-State was +4 in turnovers against a horrible team last week and won by 8. So it's going to be a tough one for sure. All right, Missouri has a chance to get a signature win for the program. Yeah. They're going to go down to Oklahoma. Oklahoma right now is in the college football playoff. Oklahoma is a 7.5 point favorite here. I think this is going to be a lot tougher than some people think for Oklahoma because nothing has been easy for the Sooners. Can Mizzou pull this one off?
You have a great insight into what's going to happen. So I think Oklahoma's good. I think their defense is special. But, I mean, are they good enough to lay, we're talking about, more than a touchdown? I don't think so. I think Missouri is one of these teams that every year they're 5-0, 6-0, and then they fall apart. Well, I think this team is built different. I think that they can run the football. Ahmad Hardy, in my opinion, if not the best top 2 or 3 running backs in the country, ran for 300 yards last week. 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. And around the country, no one's talking about it. He is that good. I think they're going to come to play. I think their defense is rock solid. 3 turnovers last week. And they've also faced 2 of the best dual-threat quarterbacks at Texas A&M and Vanderbilt. And they were right there in both games. I thought they, by having that experience playing those 2 teams, I think it's going to help them going into Oklahoma. They got nothing to lose. I think Oklahoma escapes 24-21. Oklahoma might be lucky to win this game. This might be one of those games you take Missouri plus the 7.5, 8 points, put some on the money line. They come out and they win this. You're getting over 2-1 on the money line. You can join me over the holidays in the Bahamas.
Yeah, Oklahoma's come off 2 big road wins, but now at 11 a.m., team you're supposed to beat, this is a dangerous situation for them. Okay, let's talk a little National Football League with Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports. The Patriots have been as impressive as anyone. They're so impressive that they're going to lay 8 points on the road at Cincinnati. Is this number too big for the Patriots?
I thought at first it might be. But I'm watching Cincinnati. Their defense is horrendous. Even Logan Wilson, who got traded to Dallas, he looked good last week. You get out of Cincinnati, it's like a get-out-of-jail-free card. Joe Flacco has played well, but they're still 1-4 in the games that he started. They're going to be without Jamar Chase. That is a huge blow here. Drake May might win the MVP if he keeps this up. Also, Travion Henderson has been incredible. Rookie running back from Ohio State the last couple of weeks. Didn't play much at all the first couple of weeks. He's now up to almost 500 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns, and he's caught 26 passes to boot here. They're going to run the ball. Yeah, they're going to get the lead, and, Henderson can bust it if it's even a 6, 7, 8-point game here. I like New England. I think they win this game 32-20.
Yeah, they keep it rolling. All right, now the Chiefs need to get it rolling. They kind of had it rolling for a little bit. They've been on the road. They've lost a couple of games. Now they're back home in a game that nobody thought was going to be a big game, and it is now. There's all kinds of crazy stats out there about being favored at 500 against a team that's better and good things for the Chiefs, but none of that matters. They need to go get it done, but they are favored again by 3 points here against the Colts.
So this is a must-win game. I mean, 5-5 would not even be in the playoffs if they started right now, which is crazy. But Colts, this is not a must game. They're 8-2. They have a 2-game lead here with 7 games to play. You can say whatever you want. They got something to prove, but I know they're coming off of a bye. But 7 games in 7 weeks is a lot of time for bad stuff to happen. They didn't cover the spread in either game prior to their bye, while allowing 25 and 27 points to opponents. They played some tough defenses, and when they do, Indianapolis has not played that well. In fact, against their number 2 Rams defense, scoring defense, took a loss there. Steelers, which up and down on defense, turned the ball over 5 or 6 times in that game. And Denver's number 3 defense, they were lucky to escape with that 1-point win at home. Chiefs have the number 4 scoring defense here. I think that they're going to frustrate Danny Dimes here, and it's going to be Danny Donuts by the end of the game here. You're a desperate team. Mahomes' top 3 guys. We're talking about Worthy. We're talking about Brown. We're talking about, these are guys that, get the ball and they get it deep. And, Rice, these 3 guys, top reception last week was 11 yards. His passes were flat. He just needs to use a little bit better mechanics. I think he will. I think they're going to be motivated. I like Kansas City a lot. Hint, it'll be on my card for my clients. KC 31-23 over Indy. They win and cover.
Well, they need it bad. That is for sure. It's absolutely a must-win. All right, what else have you got for us here in November, your game of the week, and what's shaking?
Game of the week is a game that I love here. We're going to go with, and it's not a high-profile game, 2 of the worst teams, the Raiders and the Browns. I think there's a clear right side to this game. First 5 callers get it for free. Just call 800-400-9741. Again, the number, 800-400-9741. get Raiders and Browns on me, and all the specials up and available. Also, a UFC card. We had a rare losing week. A lot of handicappers won't tell you when they lose. We lost the card. We went 1-5, our worst outing in 2 years in the UFC. Just made some bad calls. We've still won 18 of the last 24 cards. How about this? 5 selections in the UFC, and it starts on Saturday at 9 in the morning from Dubai. Just $5. That's right, not 55, 25, $5. You heard me correct. I just want to make sure they have a pulse and a credit card, and I know if I win for people in the UFC, they'll come back. So $5 for 5 selections in the UFC in November, and also Lee's Sunday Golden Ticket available. Just one place, ParamountSports.com.
Sounds great, Lee. We will talk to you on Sunday morning on Chiefs Tailgate. The Zone rolls on after this on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Michael Darcy. Matt Derrick hanging out with us for the hour, heading up until noon. Kendall Gammon, world's greatest long snapper, will join us coming up at noon o'clock. And then Mick Schaefer at noon 30. And Andy Reid at 1300. A little Fast Friday with Andy Reid. And then we got the cuts at 1345. So 45 past the hour, 1300. Matt Derrick is with us. 41 is the mic. Chiefs Digest. Hello, Matt. How are you?
I am relatively well, Jason.
Yeah, you know what?
Other than I've had time problems all week long. I've not had a great week.
Don't we all? You know, time is but a flat circle.
But I learned something just now.
What did you learn?
I've been coming into this station to do things like for 7-8 years.
Yes,
something
that's
like
right.
this.
Yep, that's true.
Yes, and microphones, I know, are supposed to like point up.
Typically, I don't know.
Yeah,
Just depends.
And everything. And I've always thought, why is this microphone over here broken? I mean, it's never pointing up and everything. I mean, I just work like the Dickens, and it's like I can never get in the right place. So I feel like I'm just a loser as a multimedia performer.
Yeah, we all do.
Content producer, provider, whatever you want to call it. And so I've just always felt like just a total loser. And I am, but I just realized because this chair is like 6 inches lower at least, maybe 12 lower than normal. And the microphone is now in the right place. So it was just the fact that I'm too tall and the chair was too high. Had I thought about lowering the chair all these years.
Yeah, these chairs, so we got new crazy chairs that go up and down, and they swivel. And they
squeak.
And they make noise while they swivel. And in fact, a couple days ago, I told Sterling, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to bring in some WD-40, and we'll just open up the door because it's nice outside. I'm going to do that before the show, and then by the time Seren gets in here, it'll be all cleared out, and so people won't hear this anymore. And I didn't bring it in because I forgot. So, I did that thingy. So we still get to hear this.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. That's everything that happens in here. We don't hide from the listener and the viewer. You know what I mean?
That's
we
my
make the
office
sausage and we show them.
My office chair does that. So
Yeah.
I think people frequently hear my chair on the live streams, and 41 is the mic.
We have exchanged different chairs. There's 4 chairs here in the studio, and this is obviously the one that sat in the most. And I move around a lot. I am a hand talker. I'm a mover.
You're active. Yes.
Drake hates it because I'm always moving the microphone and pulling it this way. I'm tightening it all the time, so it always gets tightened before the next show gets here. But Drake's not a big fan, so the squeaks come through a little bit more when I'm on the air. So that's probably why I should be the one to WD-40 that thing. But I haven't remembered to do that. Chiefs did not remember to play good football against the Denver Broncos on Sunday, and that's unfortunate. I don't think, me personally, I'm not going to make the NFL playoffs. We hope the Chiefs are going to make the NFL playoffs. The last 2 weeks have left a lot to be desired, Matt. We'll start there from a bigger picture standpoint, and then we'll start to hone in on maybe some more specific things. But it's not just here it is, but what's the issue the last 2 games? What are you seeing as to why this team and everybody around here, Matt, was riding high after that Commanders win and how they had played and won 5 of 6, heading to Buffalo, bye week Denver. Can they be 7-3? What's happened the last 2 weeks from what you've seen?
It really is a mystery. I mean, this team is an enigma because if you took the record out and just look at the numbers of this team, you'd say, they're at least 7-3. I mean, they've got to be division leader. They're fighting for a 1 seed. I mean, they're in the mix.
Number 3 point differential in the AFC, so they're fine.
I mean, their point differential is great. They've got a statistically at least consistently top 10 offense, maybe some top 5 in some areas. There's some areas in which this team is just elite as an offense. I mean, it does some things very, very well, and they've had some absolutely complete games. Defensively, they're really good. I mean, the Broncos are top 3, but this Chiefs defense is like top 5. I mean, they're right there in it. And these 2 games, I mean, they weren't terrible. They were winnable games, but I keep trying to figure it out, and sometimes I feel stupid because I'm like, here I am. I'm trying to figure out what Andy Reid can't figure out. I mean, I'm not some sort of mystery detective over here that's going to be able to solve something that Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo can't solve. And the reality of it is that, I mean, once again, Occam's razor here, the most likely thing that's wrong with this team is that it's what Andy Reid has been talking about. I mean, it's just little things. And when he has said that in the past, he's usually been right. Sometimes it's glossing over maybe more fundamental problems. And let's face it, the Chiefs are not alone in this. There is not a team in the NFL that doesn't have a fatal flaw of some sort this year.
Yeah,
There's no.
I mean, this year for sure.
There are no teams that are just like, okay, well, that's your just guaranteed, Super Bowl contender. That's a clear-cut number one. That's a team that is 15-2 with a reason. There might be some teams that end up going that high. Maybe not. I mean, maybe, Patriots might lose a game or two here. I mean, Buffalo's obviously continue to struggle and be inconsistent. We'll see what the Eagles do. But even the Eagles, I think they're the same way. I mean, they've got some flaws. So there's no perfect team.
They're doing what the Chiefs did last year.
No perfect team.
Yeah. You said something there that I find interesting when you said you're trying to figure out what Andy Reid can't figure out. And I want to offer it this way, because I think we're all trying to figure out what maybe Andy Reid acknowledges, but is he willing to do? So I know that if I want to get in better shape, I'm going to have to start eating better and working out. I acknowledge that. I'm just not going to do it because my life is pretty happy and I like the routine I'm in and, keep going that route. But boy, I'd like to be in better shape and I know how to get there, but it's not what I've done. And that would be a little more uncomfortable to change my ways from what I've sort of always known. And it hasn't got me yet. And I'm 45 and there's probably going to be a time where they go, dude, you'd better get your bleep together and stop eating like you do. Probably already there. Andy Reid might already be there of, dude, you better get your bleep together and figure out what the NFL is doing, that the most successful offenses are the ones that are running more downhill, more power, more under center, and the Andy Reid style offenses around the league are not doing well, and RPOs are no longer a thing that is surprising defenses, especially when you don't offer the run a little bit more. We're trying to figure out what Andy Reid can't figure out. I wonder, does Andy Reid know he just doesn't want to change because this is what's always worked?
It's a great question, and it is kind of ironic because, I mean, I think historically Andy Reid's usually been at the forefront of some of those trends and everything. And he's talked about the pendulum a lot in the past, and we haven't talked about that in a little while. Maybe that's worth revisiting. I know the last time I asked him about it, and I think I was right, and I think he poo-pooed it a little bit. But it was the question of, hey, the pendulum had shifted so far to the offense and to passing. And then we started the trend where it looked like maybe it's starting to go the other direction. And I asked him about it. This was probably like 2 or 3 years ago. And he was like, yeah, I think it's pretty much the same. I can't remember his exact answer, but he poo-pooed it. I think that's the best way to put it. But I think it has. I mean, I think that the pendulum did switch and has been shifting more and more towards the defense. Great example, to me is, Bo Nix is, a quarterback. I mean, Bo Nix has almost the exact same numbers as he did last year.
Yeah.
But everybody thinks he's a worse quarterback, it seems like. I mean, other than everybody who thinks that he's a hero after the Chiefs game. But the analytics people who praised Bo Nix last year are now looking at the exact same quarterback and saying, well, he's not as good as he was a year ago. He's almost the exact same quarterback.
Last year he was a surprise from we didn't think he was going to be all that good. And, wow, he's actually performing okay. Year number 2, okay, let's actually look at the numbers as, is this guy a franchise guy? Now he's not. But
the pendulum has been shifting, and then as a result, we have seen an increase in the viability of the run game. I mean, that's one thing that now you have to do that maybe you didn't have to do 4 or 5 years ago. You've got to run the football effectively, and the Chiefs are in that trap. And the one reason why they're in that trap, here's the thing. I mean, I get it, and I completely agree because the numbers point to it and say the Chiefs are a better team the closer they are to the line of scrimmage when they run the football. So under center, they're best at that. They're better in the pistol. They're worse in the shotgun. So the further your quarterback and your running back get away from the line of scrimmage, the worse their run offense is. So I get it. I mean, that makes sense. That's absolutely a thing that you should be doing. And, yeah, I mean, is Andy Reid not adapting to that? Well, part of it I think is, again, that even though he's not going to say it, I think his actions speak louder than words. And his actions and their actions speak to the fact that they don't have a lot of confidence in their running back stable, and they don't have a lot of confidence in their run blocking. And that is a problem.
The team this Chiefs team had an opportunity there, and I'm trying to figure out specifically when it happened. I think it was the second field goal that the Chiefs kicked. Yes. They were facing 1st and 20 because of the Josh Simmons hold on the Brashard Smith run. It would have been 2nd and 8. 1st and 20 from the 29-yard line. It was the pass that Mahomes threw that got tipped to Hollywood Brown, and he then turns and picks up 18 yards of the 20. So you're looking at 2nd and 2, and they go to shotgun. 2nd and 2 from, what would that be? Since they were at the 29, they picked up 18. So at the 11. So 2nd and 2 at the 11. They need to get to the 9-yard line, would set up 1st and goal. They run out of shotgun. Everything is showing like, right up the middle. They've got 2 down linemen, 2 guys, linebackers lined up, which would, Benito and Cooper. And then they've got 2 linebackers that are 5-6 yards off the line. They hand it to Kareem Hunt going down the line of scrimmage to try to get outside of, Juwan Taylor's down blocking and Kingsley is pulling to take on the defensive end. Problem is, Juwan Taylor down blocking, shocker again, him trying to do a reach block, gets beat. And Kingsley, by the time he gets there, the defensive line, the defensive end, Noah Gray offered no help. He runs right by him. I mean, if Noah Gray just throws an elbow into him, might be different. But nobody touches him, so he gets so far upfield that when Kingsley hits him, it's 2 yards in the backfield from where Kareem is trying to go. Juwan Taylor doesn't make his block. Boom, 1 yard loss. 3rd and 3. So you know what the Chiefs do? Well, you got to pass the ball then. You got to pass the ball. And they pass the ball with Brashard Smith in that little diamond formation over to the left that you've got Hollywood and Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy and then Brashard Smith lined up, even with Mahomes in the backfield, but behind those guys. The Denver Broncos have like one guy in the middle and linebackers that are 5 yards, 6 yards, 7 yards down the field, just daring somebody to run. The problem is they're not even showing run, so there's no reason to be there. And on 3rd and 3, they run a 1 route play. It's man-to-man, and you know what the Chiefs do? They do crossers and screens. And so you know what they did? They had Kelsey on the right side, come down short, try to set the pick for Hollywood Brown. Hollywood Brown with a crosser, and the pick wasn't really set rub route. They read it pretty good because, the Broncos are like, hey, I think they're going to run some crossers and some mesh routes here. Rashee Rice against man-to-man runs a wheel route. Okay, not working. Brashard Smith, 5 yards behind him, runs a wheel route. And Xavier Worthy runs right at the safety to get the safety out of the way, not to run a route. That whole thing was set up for Hollywood coming across. Broncos saw it. They put pressure. Mahomes throws it away. They kick a field goal. That, to me, is symptomatic of what the overall disease is, of whether that's scheme or it is hubris or stubbornness of running out of the shotgun at 2nd down and 2 at the 11-yard line and getting stopped and then saying it's man-to-man, so we're going to run our crossers and our rub routes and we're going to do dummy routes and we're going to have a wheel route over there that's not going to work and it's going to be just a Hollywood, and if it's not there, Mahomes is going to have to throw it away. Like, people know what you're doing, and the Denver Broncos are really good, and they didn't even have Pat Surtain in man-to-man to help shut that thing down. And so I do wonder, does Andy Reid adjust to teams that there is no defensive coordinator, Matt? If I'm a head coach and my defensive coordinator plays zone against the Chiefs, I'm firing him on the spot. You are fired if you're running zone against this team. We are running man-to-man until they show they can beat us because, good God, they're one of the best offenses we've seen in a long time against the zone, and they are rough against man-to-man.
Well, and that's also one of the mysteries to me because, when I asked Andy Reid about the RPO game on Monday and everything, and he said that teams are giving them the pass. I'm not entirely sure I agree with that, but 2 for sure, defenses do not respect the Chiefs' run game. No. They do not at all. You've talked about some good examples there. Even in some short yardage situations, the Chiefs had one early in the season. I remember that the Patrick Mahomes, if he wanted to run a quarterback sneak, he could have just, gone up the middle for 5 yards untouched.
and then slid.
Because, there was nobody over him. And when they look predictable, they're still even been able to run the ball. They'll they'll put 2 offensive linemen out there, go 7 offensive linemen and just Kareem up the middle. And that's been a money play. And then 3rd and 1 this week against the Broncos, they throw the football instead, which, once again, I mean, you got what for you has been your 92% play. Kareem behind a heavy offensive line, just run that until somebody stops it.
It's 3rd and 3, and Andy Reid has gone for it so often on 4th down that seemed to me like we're not going for it on 4th down, so we're not going to hand off here. So we've got to run a play against man. These are our man concepts, and if we don't get it, we're kicking a field goal. Because I think if he was in the mindset of we're going for it, I think you hand off to Kareem Hunt and say, make them stop it twice, the run, when they're not expecting it on 3rd and 3. Because they were not. They didn't have to either because Brashard Smith's lined up as a wide receiver.
Yeah. And, against Denver, were there factors that could have led to some of their decision-making? Was it, hey, Josh Simmons, first game back. We don't know completely where he's at, so, especially in the run blocking, so maybe he's not as crisp, so maybe we need to take that in consideration. And, then you lose Kingsley midway through the game, so that's a factor. Trey has got the back issues that he's dealing with. Jawan Taylor's knee, ankle he's been dealing with. Everybody but Creed's banged up, and Creed's probably banged up a little bit. And we just, it's week 12. I mean, he's bound to be dinged up a little bit. But, so maybe there's some extenuating factors that we don't know about. But what we do know is that the Chiefs have a demonstrated lack of faith in their run game. And once again, I mean, they've been dared to run the football. And it hasn't been the way that, like you said, I mean, they seem to be running away from where teams are challenging them to go.
Down their throat,
and that's the thing is that, and I said this with Seren the other day. I mean, I'm quoting the late great Therese Paylor, who once talking about watching this offensive line play that they're at the line of scrimmage just playing patty cake. You've got a mauling offensive line. You've got 5 dudes that can absolutely and want to,
especially
just
guard to guard,
just barrel people. Even I think Simmons and Jawan are those kind of players, and Jawan for sure. I mean, he's just looking for somebody that he'd love to be able to pancake and everything. I mean, why you're not running behind the guards and why you aren't, maybe going a little bit more inside. I don't get it. I mean, you've got a team that's built for it. I mean, that's your running backs are built for it. I mean, Kareem and Isaiah, they're inside runners. They're not outside guys. Why you would be even trying to get those guys to run outside? They just don't have that burst anymore. They're both a little bit different variations, but they're strong, powerful runners. You've got powerful guards. You've got defenses that are giving you light boxes consistently. I mean, there's no reason why you can't be getting 3 to 4 yards of play. And and Patrick made a good point. I mean, he said that, hey, their goal is to get at least 6 yards of play on these RPOs. So even though maybe they're passing a lot more, they're doing what they want to do because they're averaging like 6.1 yards a run from RPOs, and they're averaging like 8 yards of a play on pass plays.
Right. It's not like running the RPOs. They're picking up 2 yards, but when they run it in an RPO, they're picking up 8. And why aren't they doing more? Like, they're running it effectively. Let's take a timeout. We'll come back, and it's one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about is, you asked Andy Reid about the RPO part of it. Patrick Mahomes on Wednesday said something really fascinating, and I say that he said something fascinating because I said it on Tuesday. So I love that Mahomes said it. And if he did not agree with me, then what's the point of even playing the clip? We're not going to play it anyway. You just have to take my word for it. But it's something that the RPOs can be related to the misses on Xavier Worthy and Tyquan Thornton on the first drive of the game. We'll talk about that. And the Indianapolis Colts, they present some real schematic problems for the Chiefs. And the Chiefs of past have been able to just simply overcome schematic advantages that some teams have. Can they do it this year? We'll find out on Sunday because there are some real advantages that the Colts have in this matchup. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. I mean, I've told you, coming up on 2 years in January is when I finally went to Heartland Men's Health and said, I want to know what my testosterone level is. I had been wondering for like a decade, and I'm like, all right, let me just figure this out. So it took me 10 years to actually go and get it figured out. It took them 15 minutes to actually know what it was, and that's how quick the whole thing can change. And for me, I saw that it was actually lower than I expected it to be. I thought it would be a certain number. They gave me a range of this is what you should be. Here's where you are if you sort of qualify for this. Here's where it's sort of on the lower end even more. And it was like, okay, well, that makes sense as to why some of these symptoms are going on. And so meeting with Heartland Men's Health, having the consult that I scheduled, they did the lab work. Again, 15 minutes later, knew what my results were. And then a licensed medical provider reviewed the results with me. We discussed the options, made the decision together with the medical team. They'll do the same thing with you. Cost of the appointment is only $99, and that includes medical consult, T, and the PSA test. But if you sign up for testosterone treatment the day of your appointment, you don't pay a dime. That visit is free. Some of those symptoms, energy levels, putting on weight or losing weight if you're on testosterone, waking up feeling more refreshed, your sleep habits are better, production at work can then increase because of that, brain fog can be eliminated, all of those things. Heartland Men's Health successfully treating men in the Kansas City area. Ask them about the peptides and what they are doing with that to continue to stay on the cutting edge in the advancement of men's health. 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Independence between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and North Kansas City. Call them today at 844-447-6600. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, 844-447-6600, or visit heartlandmenshealth.com. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Matt Derrick, Chiefs Digest 41 is the Mike podcast. So Patrick Mahomes said something on Wednesday in his press conference about the RPOs. And I was talking about it on Tuesday with the fellas. We were discussing, what I would like to see, and if a 7-yard gain can be better than an 11-yard gain, which sounds counterintuitive. Sounds totally contrary.
I get it, though. I know. I
right?
see how your brain works, so I get it.
Okay, so the first play of the game, Mitchell Schwartz broke down and talked about the RPOs, and here's what's going on with the RPOs. And he had to clarify multiple times that I am not saying this is a bad decision by Patrick Mahomes. In fact, this is a good decision. It picked up 11 yards. They blitzed the safety, which is what Mahomes said on Wednesday. They showed the safety blitz look. Hufanga came down to the line of scrimmage. He did blitz. They had 2 guys out on the edge to block 2. He throws it to Rashee Rice, open, picks up 11 yards. And if it wasn't for Cooper reading it so quickly, Rice picks up 15 or 16 more yards because Cooper at the defensive end is the one that caught Rice from behind. So that is not a bad play. You picked up 11 yards. What Mitchell Schwartz was pointing out is look at the defensive alignment. At the snap, this linebacker on an RPO turns his hips and backpedals. There is no respect for the RPO whatsoever, the run part of it. So he immediately backpedals at the snap. Like that's what they're doing against RPOs. They are looking for receivers and not the running back. And he was saying, these can be run reads, these can be pass reads. And what I took from that is, at least my opinion was, I wonder if when you hand it off to Kareem Hunt, and it was blocked so perfectly well. I mean, that clip from Mitchell Schwartz is like, man, that could have been a 15-yard gain. But I looked at it and said, what if it's only 7? What if Benito leaves the block of Jawan Taylor and gets over to Kareem Hunt and makes him have to adjust a little bit from what was a wide open lane, tackled 8 yards, okay, nice play on first down. They throw deep to Xavier Worthy and Tyquan Thornton, and we talked about it, Matt, throughout the offseason and this year of, well, you keep doing that because they have to respect that. And on Tuesday, I'm like, well, then why don't you hand it off even when you see the pass look? Hand it off so they respect it, and if you're picking up 6 or 7 yards, they're not going to want to keep letting you pick up 6 or 7 yards. And Mahomes said that on Wednesday, said, you know what, maybe you just have to, hand the ball off a couple of times just to continue to show it. Maybe you just have to hand it off a little bit more. What do you make of what Mahomes said of sometimes you have to hand the ball off so it can help you later in the game?
Oh, I mean, there's absolutely no doubt that that's the case. And I think, and that wasn't the only one. There were plenty of opportunities I think that the Chiefs missed.
It's just that Mitchell Schwartz broke that down so well.
But it was interesting that, that Patrick in that sequence revealed that, that was an RPO, but it was a design play for Rashee Rice. They knew, like you mentioned, they scouted, they had the look of the Broncos, that if they did this, that they were going to be coming on the blitz, and that they would have the safety would be out of the way, and Rice could get a big game.
So no matter what the linebackers did or anything,
even though that was an option play, and people sometimes get option confused with like a read option, which that's more basic. That's just simply, hey, if
reading the defensive end,
if the defensive end of the linebacker goes one way, the quarterback does a specific thing. In this case, there's a lot of factors, but I think it gets confusing to people that, sometimes the RPOs it's baked in that it's going to be a pass or a run before the game. I mean, the game plan is baked into it. In that one case, it was absolutely that. I didn't have a huge I'm with, you have made a good point. I mean, that you could have probably gone the other way. Would an 11-yard run have been more effective there?
But you can't even argue like, oh, Mahomes made a bad decision. They picked up 11 yards on first down. That's a quick start to the drive. You get momentum. Let's roll.
And I think you had the same type of debate on the next play.
Yes.
Because that was scripted to be a throw to Travis Kelce.
When he was wide open.
Xavier Worthy ran that route to get Travis Kelce open, and it worked perfectly. And Travis was the same thing. Travis was wide open for 15 yards, maybe a lot more.
Yeah.
And if you're Patrick Mahomes and you take that instead, as it was scripted, as you worked on all week long, if you throw that, this is your first 15. These are the plays that you know exactly what you're going to do, and you know where the ball is supposed to go. And I get his thinking is that he's got Xavier Worthy's open and everything, but if you throw that, this is your first 15. This is the play that you know exactly what you're going to do, and you know where the ball is supposed to go. And I get his thinking is that he's got Xavier Worthy's open and everything, but if you throw that, this is your first 15. This is the play that you know exactly what you're going to do, and you know where the ball is supposed to go. And I get his thinking is that he's got Xavier Worthy's open and everything, But right now, I mean, Xavier Worthy has one catch on 10 targets more than 20 yards downfield. That's a 10% play. Wow. And if the Chiefs aren't telling Patrick that right now and saying, hey, look,
how many of those were overthrown?
That's a 10% play right now.
Yeah.
Or if they had just said in the game plan, hey, no matter what, I mean, unless they cover Travis, you're throwing to Travis here in this spot. I mean, that should have been honestly, that's where I feel it was a mistake on Mahomes' part because, what you're trying to do in that situation is that you're trying to get a sustained drive going.
Yep.
That's why you designed the first play for Rasheed.
You would have had an 11-yard gain and probably a 20 or 25-yard gain to Kelsey because he would have caught the ball 15 yards down the field, and there was about 10 yards space between him and the safety by the time he caught the ball. So you could have had 11 and 25, and now you're already into Denver territory down 3-0.
Exactly. I mean, you're in field goal range after two plays. And, and that has been something that the Chiefs have talked about they want to do is they want to be able to get off to faster starts, get points on that opening drive. They would have had that right there with that play. Instead, takes the shot to Worthy, and and I need to look up. I meant to look it up this morning. What Ty Quan's numbers are, how much better they are. I know they're better.
Got to be better, yeah.
They're better than that. But
even in that game alone, he was 1 for 2.
Right now, I mean, Xavier and Patrick, it's a 10% play. So if you're Patrick, you need to be taking the 75% play, and maybe even higher. But that's at least a 75% play to Travis.
But it is interesting, back-to-back plays. On the first one, the read is there to go to Rashee Rice, but also an easy 7 or 8 yard handoff is right there too. So do you show the handoff to make him respect it? You don't. You throw to Rice. The next play, Kelsey's wide open, which is the design of the play, but do you throw it deep because Xavier won so they have to respect it? Yeah, I'm going to throw it deep so they respect it. It's sort of the mindset of Mahomes in that I'm not going to hand off so they'll respect it, but I will throw deep so they respect it later on in the game. And that gets back to maybe you just take the RPOs out of the option part of it, line up under center, you've been successful at it, and run it until you prove, I would say, that the reason you're so successful is because you're not using it a lot, if that makes sense. It's like, they're 28th in how often they go under center, but they're, number 1 or 2 in success rate. Well, are they 1 or 2 in success rate because they're 28th in going under center? And if they were 15th in going under center, would they be 15th in success rate? And does that even out to where you go, okay, you should still be doing it more? Like shooting a 3, you're shooting 40%, then shoot more. You're shooting 25%, shoot less. You're shooting 34%, probably shooting right about where you should be shooting. Okay, so the Chiefs are shooting like 45% on under center in the 3-point comparison. The question is, if they start shooting more volume, does that percentage drop to where it no longer becomes as effective? I don't know. But what I want to see while they're shooting 45% behind the arc, Matt, shoot more threes.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why, to me, I have absolutely no doubt that this goes into Mahomes' quick calculations. Mm-hmm. And it goes into, maybe why we've seen certain throws to Worthy and why we've seen more different throws to Tyquan. Tyquan is fast and big. And we've seen it. Tyquan can win contested catches because he's bigger than anybody else he's going up against. So he's got that advantage. Worthy's not. Worthy's not as tall. He's not as bulky. He's not going to get contested catches. So when Mahomes has both of those guys, and you've seen it this year, you go through and look at the films, and you look at the individual throws. When he's throwing deep to Worthy, he's always leading Worthy. He wants Worthy to go get the ball and catch it on the run in stride.
Because I can't overthrow that guy.
He can't. You
can.
You can, but what you really can't do is you can't underthrow Worthy, because if you underthrow Worthy, it might be a pick.
Yeah. Whereas, but it also might be a pass interference.
Could be a pass interference, which has worked out for them too. Which has worked out for them too. But with Tyquan, he throws the ball, and he has overthrown Tyquan. Once again, in theory, you can't overthrow Tyquan either because he's fast too, but you can. But how many times have we seen it when Tyquan has been underthrown, which is more than Worthy? Because you could clearly tell in the calculations that he makes, Mahomes knows that he can throw a different ball to Tyquan than he can to Xavier. Xavier has got to be clear to catch the ball, whereas Tyquan can beat some guys, and he can elevate, and he can win a contested catch downfield.
I do wonder, we'll take a break, and I want to talk about specifically the Colts and Chiefs and some of the schematic advantages that the Colts have, and we'll see if the Chiefs can attack those. But Going back and watching the second and third play of the game for the Chiefs, the overthrow to Worthy and the overthrow to Tyquan Thornton. I don't know if either of them thought they were getting the ball because, again, Xavier Worthy was running the clear out. And as Mahomes was throwing it, if you watch the All-22, Xavier Worthy, as he's looking back, starts slowing down. He's about a step and a half away from catching that ball. Does Mahomes say, well, Xavier Worthy's going to start slowing down as I'm throwing this ball? No. Well, Xavier Worthy maybe didn't think the ball was going to him because I'm running the clear out and the safety's doing what we want him to do, which means Kelsey behind me is wide open, and all of a sudden I look up and now I got to turn it back on. And the throw down the sideline I thought was interesting because Tyquan's pretty darn good at tracking. And if you watch that one, the ball lands about the 24, I think, but when he's at the 35-yard line, I'm not sure why, he takes like 2 steps towards the inside and then has to readjust to the outside, and and it lands over his head, and he immediately claps his hands like that, where I wonder if he's acknowledging, yeah, I misread that one. I thought that was going to be more to the inside when I looked up and saw it, and those 2 or 3 steps to the inside is the difference between it landing in my hand or it landing on the ground. So is Mahomes overthrowing them, or on those 2 plays did the receivers have trouble just in those moments tracking it? But also that goes back to don't throw it to where it has to be perfect, that they have to track it perfectly for it to perfectly land in their hand, that if you underthrow it a little bit, especially to Tyquan, as you're talking about, he's big enough to go and catch that. We need to take a timeout. We'll come back, continue with Matt Derrick, more Zone next. Well, the weather has been beautiful, and last night, it got rainy, a little storms coming through, but there's going to be even more. Is your roof ready for the winter months? If it's not, then check out pyramidroofingkc.com. If you don't know if it is, then check out pyramidroofingkc.com. With those free roof inspections, they give you peace of mind. It's free. It's free to know what's going on up there so you can weatherproof your roof. So when something happens, you're not sitting there going, oh my goodness, what's going on? Why is there a leak in our ceiling? Is that on the roof? Is it something? Do we have some critters in our attic that's not actually rain? You'd know it if you're like, okay, our roof is good to go. It's solid, man. And we didn't have a storm last night. So there's something else maybe going on. Call Pyramid Roofing, 816-966-1101. If your roof is over 15 years old, then you may have some things going on. Broken tiles, missing, damaged shingles, some leaks that maybe you don't know about just yet, maybe some gutter issues, mold and mildew that may be up there. Poor ventilation is a part of it. Also could help with the energy bills. It is commercial and residential Pyramid Roofing KC, locally owned and operated. Check them out, pyramidroofingkc.com. Tell him you heard about it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, 816-966-1101, pyramidroofingkc.com. All right, Matt, we talk about this game coming up this weekend. Chiefs 3.5-point favorites over the Indianapolis Colts. There are some schematic advantages in this one for the Indianapolis Colts. The third and fourth down, they play the fourth highest rate of man coverage in the NFL. Chiefs aren't good against the man. Chiefs struggle against play-action passes, and the Indianapolis Colts love play-action passes. Sauce Gardner was brought in to play even more man coverage for this particular team. Lou Anarumo is a damn fine defensive coordinator that the Chiefs' offense have had some struggles with. The Chiefs in the past, Matt, can go up against a team with certain schematic advantages and personnel and things like that and find ways to overcome because they just simply either play better football or their advantages are highlighted a little bit more or emphasized more or they come through a little bit more in that game. Is that this team? Like, when we go into a game, I mean, I think we'll find out, obviously, on Sunday with a game like this because this is a really fascinating one because you can make a strong argument as to why the Colts could come into Kansas City and win by 7 to 10 points if they run it, play action, put the linebackers in situations, and then just man the hell up out of the Chiefs' wide receivers.
Yeah, and it's interesting that the Chiefs, because one of the things you mentioned in there is just the complete opposite. I mean, normally the Chiefs feast against man, and it's the zone that they struggle against, but it's been kind of the opposite this year. And I think a little bit of that is because, you know, a couple of their guys, specifically once Rice came back and Worthy the entire season, Worthy's been dinged up. And so the separation for some of their biggest guys has been less than it was for Worthy and for Rasheed during their rookie seasons. So I think those injuries are playing into it a little bit that might be affecting how they perform against man. I mean, Kelsey is always going to be Kelsey. I mean, but he's going to get open. He's going to get, and if he draws, which I don't know, we'll see how Lou does it and everything. I mean, he's typically pretty aggressive against Patrick too. So that will be interesting to see just how they end up playing that. But I mean, it's the other side of the ball that I'm most interested in because Jonathan Taylor is red hot right now, and that's the guy that this offense runs behind.
Yep.
And the Chiefs know, I mean, they've got to stop that. They got to kill that engine, Jason, because if Taylor has a 100-yard day, I mean, you got to think the Colts are probably winning this game.
Yeah, we had Cynthia on, and I think it was Cynthia that said as long as Jonathan Taylor is not the best player on the planet on Sunday, she feels confident that the Chiefs will win. What do you think happens in the game on Sunday?
I think I'm with Cynthia there. I think there's a reasonable chance to argue that the Colts probably are a better team, 2 through 53 on this roster. The one position that it will come down to, obviously, it's the quarterback. It's Patrick Mahomes and Daniel Jones. And last week you thought Patrick Mahomes, Bo Nix, that means the Chiefs are going to win. That should be the matchup battle. And I don't agree with the assessment that Nix outplayed Mahomes.
No, it's absurd.
I don't think Nix made one good throw at a time that they needed it, and that was probably more that the Chiefs had a bad play because just as a Steve Spagnuolo, you can't give up a 3rd and 15 play.
You can't bring 3.
They did it.
Rush 3 and have a spy with Leo.
Have a spy. No, did not work well at all. I think this is going to be a different matchup. I think that the Chiefs should be able to have success against this Colts offense. And like Cynthia said, as long as Jonathan Taylor's not the best player, it doesn't even mean on the planet, as long as he's not the best player on the field that day, then the Chiefs can win this game. I still can't get excited. I mean, all the Chiefs' wins have been by blowouts, so I should be taking the Chiefs to win by 19. But they play a close game. I think they're going to finally win a close game, Jason.
All right.
They're going to finally put a crooked number in that close game column.
All right.
24-21 Chiefs.
24-21 Chiefs. I would like to hear from Juju Smith-Schuster this week or today. That'd have been great because remember when Brian Branch and Juju had that altercation after the game, it was Zaire Franklin of the Colts that said Brian Branch was doing the Lord's work because Juju is a punk and everybody wants to punch Juju in the face and they hate Juju.
Great points.
We're not going to hear from Juju this week, but he said Brian Branch punching Juju was doing the Lord's work. So, and he needs his ass whipped, is what Zaire Franklin said about Juju Smith-Schuster.
Great point.
Well, Zaire will be out there on Sunday. Juju will be out there on Sunday, although man-to-man coverage, maybe less Juju.
Watch for it, though.
I know. It's going to be really interesting. I think Juju's aware of that.
I would
Zaire is
imagine
too.
so, yes.
Matt, you're the man, brother. Appreciate it. Kendall Gammon coming up next.
He has a different view of the world. Maybe because he spent 15 years looking at it upside down. He knows exactly how many times the ball will rotate on a long snap, and he'll juggle anything you throw at him. It's Kendall Gammon in the Zone. Brought to you by Crown Toyota and Crown Volkswagen. Recognized as the #1 place to buy a new or pre-owned vehicle. Visit crownautomotive.com to see the latest deals. Experience the Crown difference.
All right, we continue on this Friday edition of The Zone on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We head up until 2 o'clock. Mick Schaefer will join us later on this hour. Are we going to have him on? So we are going to talk to him. So it is okay. So we are having Kendall. Okay. So even as I said, I don't want to talk to Kendall. That's fine. But Kendall, he's there right now. Oh, Kendall Gammon is our guest.
Crazy. Absolutely.
World's greatest long snapper is with us. Hi, Kendall. I don't know if you heard that or not. My bad.
No, you're exactly right. No, absolutely.
Shoot.
I know that was the I don't know what that was.
Well, here's the thing, Kendall. Actually, you know what? Can we stop the show? Northwest just fumbled again. So let's go ahead and pick that one up. Oh, they didn't. Pitt State fell on it again.
Because I forced it.
There you go. Kendall, congratulations to your team. What a probably really enjoyable first half for you guys. The Green on the other side not having an enjoyable first half, but you guys went out there, played good football, and won the game. So congratulations on that game Saturday.
Well, I appreciate it. It was a good game, and you mentioned it. The turnovers were the big part of the game, and that's what made the difference. That being said, when you look at it, both teams still in the playoffs like we thought. You guys, I think you have Harding.
Yep.
And quite honestly, I'm rooting for y'all. I just as soon see you take care of Harding. I think you might be able to. I'm headed down south. I'm going to Tulsa to watch a Bixby high school game tonight, but then tomorrow we've got Pitt State playing Shadron State. So a lot of playoff football going on.
Yeah, a lot of fun, and that is taking place right now. As long as you said, both teams making the tournament is good. So Northwest heading down to Arkansas, and Shadron heading down to Pittsburgh State. Both those games coming up tomorrow in the Division II playoffs. Kendall Gammon is our guest. Kendall, both those teams make the playoffs. I'm hoping both teams playing on Sunday will make the playoffs. Yeah. If only one of them does, it's probably going to be the one in blue and white that's heading into town with the Indianapolis Colts. You know, we've last couple of games after they played the Commanders the way that they did, and Lions, and right when they went 5-1 after the 0-2 start, they get ready for the Bills and then bye week in Broncos, and you're like, okay, they can go 1-1 here, and if they go 1-1, they're 6-4, and feeling pretty good, and they go 0-2. We thought they would come out with a little bit more of an edge in the game. Are you surprised? Is it, looking at more what Denver was doing? Were we underestimating Denver in this particular matchup? How do you come away and look at that game that the Chiefs end up losing by a field goal there in Denver?
Yeah, it's interesting. I thought how good the Chiefs offense would negate how good the defense of Denver was, and I was just simply wrong. That being said, it was, as Andy said, a few plays that made the difference, and I think you look at that interception by Mahomes and the fact that 2 plays earlier you have illegal formation by Jawan Taylor on the right side to take him back and force that. So it's just those little things. I mean, especially when good teams play, it's just a few plays that make a difference, and that's what happened. That being said, I thought they still had the ability to win that game, even up there. It's never an easy place to play, but yeah, it's certainly hard to figure out right now.
How do you weigh what I feel like are legitimate analysis around this Chiefs team? That, okay, you are what your record says you are. You're 5-5, which means you've played well and you've played bad at times. You're losing against playoff teams currently. But while that is the case, on the flip side, which I do find to be legit analysis as well, is that, okay, so if people are having the Denver Broncos as one of the best teams in the AFC and maybe the best team in the AFC, depending on power rankings. A lot of the power rankings in the first AFC team that shows up is the New England Patriots. But New England, Denver, and Indianapolis are all consensus top 5 if we look at all the power rankings. And if we say the Chiefs are 5-5 and Denver is considered one of the best teams in the AFC, and you didn't lose by 3 because Denver was sleepwalking through the game and just didn't take you seriously. Denver was ready to throw the kitchen sink at you to win the division, and you lost by 3. How do you sort of, come to grips or try to marry those two breakdowns of the Chiefs that it's like they are 5-5, they have struggled, yet the frustration of they just went to Denver against a team that people think is maybe the number 1 seed or number 2 seed. You lost by 3 where you don't think you played very well, and here you are.
Yeah, all that's kind of hard to follow when it comes down to it. It's just that's what we've been saying about all the games that they lose for the most part is, we just didn't play well. And it's true, but it goes back to the 1-score games and how we are this year as compared to last year. And I'm still not convinced that Denver, I didn't think it was exactly an offensive show that Denver put on, but they did enough. And when it comes down to it, that defense just did a nice job. There were several times where Patrick Mahomes had protection, I felt like, but he couldn't find anybody to throw to. And I'm not sure what that comes down to, but that is a top defense, top 3 defense, I think you said earlier when you're talking with Matt. And so you got to give them credit. But that being said, the Chiefs, I still think at 5-5 are a better team than the team 10 weeks into the season last year.
Visiting with Kendall Gammon, can winning close games like we talked about last year and losing close games, how much do they start to build on themselves and maybe confidence around a team? And I wonder how confident and how much of a belief this team right now in that locker room has that they are going to beat good teams, that they will make the plays when it matters against good teams the way that they did last year. Can it be lost in the same calendar year from February to what we're seeing now that they're just not making those plays? Is this a team that's lacking for confidence in the fourth quarter that they don't feel like they're going to make the plays?
I think that's a fair analogy to make. And in the same calendar year, I don't know. In the same season, certainly.
Yeah,
last year, they expected to win every close game. Right now, they're aware that they haven't been winning the close games, any of them. So I think it would be it is certainly fair to think that in some guys' minds, they're like, man, here we go again. I don't think that's ever the case with Mahomes. I don't think that's ever the case with Kelsey, but I think we would be silly and naive to think that doesn't enter into the equation this far into the season when you know what you've done up until now.
Yeah, and it's a Chiefs team that, they were down. They were up 19-16, and they had the ball, and they went 3 and out. Then they were tied 19-19, and they had the ball, and they went 3 and out. And it's just not what we've seen in the past. Patrick Mahomes said the biggest takeaway or what bothers him the most from this game is that they had the ball with 4 minutes to play, and they went 3 and out. And that's a situation where you can end the game. The Broncos never get the ball back, and you kick a field goal as time expires by picking up first downs and them exhausting their timeouts. We've seen that before with this Chiefs team, and unfortunately, that's what the Broncos did to the Kansas City Chiefs when they got the ball. This is from Jesse Newell, Kendall, and his piece that he wrote at The Athletic about how the Chiefs are essentially doing this year the opposite of what they were able to accomplish last year. And so the parameters are when the score is within 8 points in the fourth quarter and the final 5 minutes of regulation. So within a score, up to 8 points and final 5 minutes. The Chiefs last year in those gotta-have-it moments ranked 13th in the NFL in success rate on offense, and Mahomes completed almost 60% of his passes. This season, they have had 11 snaps, very small sample size, but they have had 11 snaps in that specific situation. Mahomes is 2 for 10, 29 yards passing, took a sack, and they also had a delay of game penalty. So when he said, if you throw in the delay of game penalty, the Chiefs had 11 snaps that resulted in a net of 13 yards in those situations. Can it be something that just is lost that quickly, or they are that close to where that's going to trend in the other direction the rest of the way that it did last year, and those plays are going to start being made. They'll win close games, and you'll go, man, remember when they couldn't get this thing done, and now look at them.
Well, you ask, can it be lost? Well, apparently, yes, it can, because that's what we've seen.
Yeah.
And you certainly hope and would expect that as the sample size gets bigger, that it would, go back towards the mean. And quite honestly, it's going to have to, because otherwise, they really need to go. I haven't analyzed it completely, Jason, but don't they really need to be at 6-1, 5-2 at the worst to be looking at the playoffs? And they just don't have much room for error. And I think Andy Reid, as much as he ever will admit something in the fact that he said, the team's aware of where we're at and what's going on. I think that was essentially saying, yeah, we get it. We know we know this is kind of a must-win.
Yeah, and the schedule actually, for having a first-place schedule and the teams they play, actually breaks in their favor in these final 7 games. I mean, they're sitting 5-5, and I think you need to get to 11 to feel confident, and minimum 10 to make it. 9 won't get you there. So if you go 4-3, you're not making the playoffs. You need to go at least 5-2 or maybe 6-1. 7-0, I think, get you there. If I look at it the rest of the way, they will beat Tennessee and they'll beat the Raiders, because that's the 15th game and the 17th game, and they're going to be in must-win situations. They're not going to lose to the Tennessee Titans in a must-win situation. They're not going to lose to the Raiders. So there's 2 wins, so they're sitting 7-5. And if you want to get to 10 wins, now you need to go 3-2 in those other 5 games. That includes the Chargers, Indianapolis this week. So Indianapolis, Dallas, Houston, Chargers, and Broncos, with 4 of those 5 coming at home, the only road game being against Dallas. I also looked at it, Kendall, and said I think they beat the Chargers. The Chargers, I think, are heading in the wrong direction. So that puts them at 8-5. So now... can you go 2-2 in those other 4 games to get to 10, or 3-1 in those other 4 games? And I think if you break it down like that, the math is still there for them to get to 11 wins because they're playing those home games. But, man, it really starts this weekend, and I wonder if the Chiefs can also look at it and say, yeah, this weekend is a playoff game for us.
Yeah, I think it's right. And I will say all of that I agree with, and you've studied it much more than me. I'll just say this. None of that happens if you're only putting 16 points on the board a game. So when it comes down to it, the offense has to perform at a higher level. 19, you can deal with 19 points as a defense. You'd like to have it less, but you can deal with that. You hold under 20, especially when you look at this offense and what you've seen it's capable of. And it is a big word for me, but it is a conundrum. I mean, it is hard to figure out how they can be so hot and cold. And, there's just been little mistakes here and there. I know that's been talked about ad nauseum, but that's really what I've seen. And I don't know. I still expect them to make the playoffs, just like you. I think this is a good team, and I'll tell you what, if they do make the playoffs, what would they be, a 6, 7 seed, somewhere in there? Yeah. Probably the last seed. Nobody wants that game. I mean, just nobody.
No, and the reason is, like, if you say, well, do you care about facing the Chiefs right now? Would you be worried about facing the Chiefs in the playoffs? And I think people would view it of November 21st and go, well, look how they played against Buffalo. Look how they played against Denver. No, I wouldn't be worried about them. But no, if you're playing the Chiefs in the playoffs, that means they finished 5-2 or 6-1 or 7-0, which means they're playing good football. And at that point, Kendall, there ain't a fan alive that would go, oh, the Chiefs are coming to town on a 5-2 stretch? Cool, let's get it.
You're exactly right. And they've proved that they can go on the road in the playoffs and win. So that's not an issue. You're right. It is making up for one of the more interesting seasons, for them and really just the NFL in general. When you look at all 4 division leaders in the AFC, before the season, most people wouldn't have picked any of those as to win it. Maybe Pittsburgh, but you thought Baltimore would be there, but you didn't see the others.
No, it would be Houston was a heavy favorite, Chiefs were a heavy favorite, and the Bills were a heavy favorite, and those are the 3 teams not leading their division, the 3 heavy favorites, which is really interesting. Kendall, I wanted to ask about the extra point that took place that was blocked. Dave Tobe said yesterday that there was nothing with the mechanics with the snap or the hold or the kick, that all was smooth. But when Kingsley left the game with the concussion, they moved some guys around, and he said, an execution issue that took place there. The obvious one, or the easy one, watching it and go, oh my God, Jawan Taylor was beat on his inside shoulder, and the guy blocks the kick. Jawan Taylor, what are you doing? Everybody blocks down. Dave Tobe said, my job is that everyone knows what they should be doing, and that's on me. But talking about having to put somebody in that spot, which was Caliendo. Caliendo or Wanya Morris, I can't remember which one it was. But my question to you is, are there times in a kick blocking scheme on a field goal that you don't necessarily every time step down? I ask that because Jawan went to his right. Caliendo went to his right. Josh Simmons was also blocking more to his right on the guy on the outside. And then Wanya Morris went straight ahead. Is there a chance that it's like, well, Jawan got beat on the inside shoulder. Oh, my God, you always have to block down. Is there a chance that that alignment specifically called for the Chiefs to block differently than what has been sort of taught at the high school level of you elephant step down and squeeze everything to the inside?
I would tend to go toward, and I haven't studied that play, but I would tend to go towards what you just said, which is everybody step down. That's the way I remember it. You do the same thing each and every time, and if they block a kick, they have to come from the outside.
Right.
You don't let anything through the middle.
Yeah, I just it's surprising, and I don't know who. And by the way, Dave Tobe did not say specifically what took place.
Yeah, right.
But just said, it's his job that everybody's got to know what's going on. And Jawan Taylor was blocking two guys, Caliendo was blocking two guys, and Wanya Morris blocked nobody.
So that's not a recipe for success, is it?
I'm not sure who's to blame, but I have no idea. Kendall Gammon is our guest. All right, Kendall, what do you think happens on Sunday as the Chiefs and Colts match up?
Yeah, I think it's obviously a good game. I get the shudders. I get the shakes whenever I talk about the Colts, and considering some of the games I was in with them in the playoffs. But I still think the Chiefs do or die. They're in a corner. They're a wounded animal, and they come out swinging. I feel it's a close game, but I just feel like the Chiefs get it. I'm actually right there where Matt Derrick was. I've said this on a couple different stations this week, which was 24-21. I think the Chiefs come away with the win.
All right, we'll see what happens. Kendall, I hope your Pitt State Gorillas come away with a win tomorrow. Obviously hoping Northwest comes away with the win. MIAA representation. Have fun, and we'll talk next week.
Sounds good. I think if they both win, you guys would be coming to play us, so we would have a rematch.
That would be fun. Yeah, and it'd be double or nothing on the bet we never came up with, but we'll figure something out at that point.
Sounds good.
Thank you, brother.
Take care.
Absolutely. Kendall Gammon, the world's greatest long snapper, joining us here in the zone. He is presented by Crown Toyota and Crown Volkswagen. Recognize that the number one place to buy a new or pre-owned vehicle. Visit crownautomotive.com to see the latest deals. Experience the Crown difference. We come back. We take a time out. More zone right after this. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Michael Darcy. It's The Zone on a Friday. Mick Schaefer, he is hanging out with us on this Friday edition, and he's always presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. Experience world-class sports facilities, including an ice rink, turf field, state-of-the-art courts, arcade games, laser tag, bowling, sports simulators, a bar and grill. Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk, where sports and entertainment collide. You know, we had Everett's birthday party on Saturday.
You're going to be talking about that?
I will say, though,
until next birthday party.
Real quick, I know we joke, but I don't think I talked about this on Monday. So we did the bowling and the laser tag birthday party, and I was so pumped for the laser tag. And we did the one session. You know, we had it for like an hour, but each session is like 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. And at the end of 15 minutes, I'm like, all right, boys, go get them, guys. No, they're going to keep playing. I got to help out with the, his parents, the presents and everything back there. I got to make sure the bowling is tough. I'm sweating, I'm like, all right, no, I got my fix. I got the fill. It was fun. I'm out. I'm good. Now let me go play some video games and some Papa-Shot, and then I'll be good with that too, and then I can just hang out and watch them do it.
I would love to tell you that that gets better. Okay. What are you, about 5 years younger than me? But it does not.
I have not played laser tag in so long, and I was so pumped for it. And I had fun doing it.
Any activity where you're exerting yourself only a tiny percentage.
Yes.
You're now breathing heavy. Today, my AirPods were dead. So I get to the gym. I'm like, well, this is going to be a
bragger. I went to the gym.
This is going to be boring. And so whenever your AirPods are dead, you hear yourself breathe on the treadmill and then like lifting weights. Mm-hmm. And you don't when you're blasting the Zach Bryan, or whatever, the old school 90s.
In your mind, everybody's silent
stuff.
In there.
Yes. And then you hear yourself breathe. I'm like, oh my God, other people are listening to.
One more. That's all you. It's all you. That's all you. That's what I'm talking about.
I didn't even touch it.
Didn't even touch it. I didn't touch it. He's pulling it up. Not even touch it. All you. That's what it is, dude. I told you could get it. Mindset. It's in your mind.
All 10 fingers are wrapped around the bar.
He's like,
I didn't do anything. I didn't touch it.
Doing a bicep curl with the bar. Your mind. I told you before. In your mind, you knew you could get 6 of them. You said 4. I said 6. You got it. That's what I'm talking about,
dude. You went Jerome Tang on that.
That's right. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing when you trust your spotting partner? What you can do when you're passionate and you believe? It's amazing.
So you go to that kind of gym.
So you're at the gym?
I go to the one at the golf club where there are 3 other 85-year-olds in there. And they're doing their leg workout.
You don't have a pump partner?
And they don't. I don't have a pump partner, and they don't have AirPods on, so they're hearing me breathe like it's like my last
They're
breath.
not rocking AirPods?
Yes.
Are they rocking a Walkman?
No, God, no. They're rocking their thoughts.
Are they just carrying a record player around with them?
No,
what are they doing?
We got Fox News on the TV, and they've got their thoughts.
They've got, just in their mind. Oh, man, I couldn't do that. Got to have the music going, man.
Yeah.
Is there music in the gym at least?
No.
Just so there's nothing playing in at all.
You got some circuit machines. You got like 6 treadmills. You got your free weights, and you're on your own.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
And it overlooks the 9th hole, so I always watch the the 8-year-olds coming up on the green and putting and everything. I'm like, he's not reading that one right.
Fucking idiot.
That one's downhill. He doesn't realize it.
That guy's an idiot, man.
You hit it 10 feet by, didn't you?
This guy, man. I mean, he continues.
So that was my entertainment today.
Flop shot, idiot, man. He's flopping over there. You're not Phil.
Don't flop it. Closer to the ground, the better.
Phil. This guy thinks he's Phil. Let me say that. He's getting no chance to be Phil. You're more closer to Frank. I don't even know if there is a Frank. This guy sucks.
That's how bad you are. There's no Frank golfers ever.
Let me turn up Zach Bryan.
Frank Nobilo.
Yes. Oh yeah, Frank. Yeah. That's the guy.
He's an announcer now.
That's the guy. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been to the gym because that's in my mind. That's the gym is the yelling and the it's all you. It's all you. You got it.
No,
you got it right there.
Every day I go to the gym means I'm gaining 2 pounds that day and not 3.
That's
so
great. Yeah.
that's what I'm doing.
I told myself once my daughter started in kindergarten,
That's a
and
nice
I no
thought.
longer had to pick her up right after
plenty of
school.
time.
That I would go to the J after work because it's always like I pick her up, we go home, we do different things, and it's like 4 o'clock, and then 4:30 my wife gets home with my son, so I'm like, okay, I've got till like 4 o'clock. Then I get done with the show, I can go to the J and go work out, and that's actually happened 0 times. She's in 1st grade, so she graduates next week.
Do you even have a membership to
We
the
do.
J? Okay.
That would be great if I.
I haven't bought a membership yet.
Yes, yeah. My son plays for the J Triple Threat basketball team.
Okay,
so
I
yeah,
got you.
we have them. My wife goes.
Yeah.
She goes to the J. She does all the classes and stuff, and she works at. Anytime there's a basketball practice that we have at the J, my wife's like, "Oh, I'll take him." So then she can run on the treadmill
Yeah.
that overlooks the basketball courts. Loves that, and I'm like, I was just going to sit in the chair and watch the basketball game.
Sure,
so
yeah.
you're gonna. Yeah, I guess it makes sense for you to go since you'll accomplish something, and I'll just be doing there what I'll do at home anyway on my phone.
You got to get. I'm sure you listen to some podcasts or whatever shows
I
or
do.
whatever.
I
That's
do.
the biggest thing. It's like
Yep,
okay,
8-10 all day.
2 things 8-10. There you go. You listen to Seren.
That's right. That's right. So if I'm working out, boy, there's nothing that gets me fired up. And that's the thing. Like I want to go and work out, and I'm like, man, Seren has got me pumped up to go and work out.
You never get tired of sports talk radio?
I really don't.
I do.
Yeah, because even my podcasts are sports talk. Like I know
Yeah.
it's a sickness.
I like it. It's like my number one thing to listen to, but after a while, I'm like, okay, let's go to some serious.
Yeah,
let's go to my Apple Music, something else.
Yeah, when I mow or yard work, that's when it's not sports talk.
Okay.
That's the only time that I switch it out from sports talk or other podcasts is when I'm mowing and doing yard work. Because then I'm like, oh, this is sort of leisurely.
Yeah.
So I'll listen to it's like Smartless and Rewatchables are like the sort of things that I go to.
Two great
Or
podcasts.
Levitard's South Beach Stressing. Because I like the longer form interviews. I really enjoy those more than like, here's a quick little nugget. Like, I'm not... During the week, I'll listen to the podcasts that are like, okay, we look at every team in the AFC and where they're at right now. Okay, let me fast forward to what you think about the Chiefs. What are you saying here? Oh, that's an interesting number. Let me mark that down. Now let me go to the other one. That's those. But when it's like leisurely, I'd like to just, here's your guest, and here's like 45 minutes where you're talking and really, discussing things. That's in my leisure time. But other than that, it's like, what am I learning about the Chiefs? What am I learning about, the Royals?
You're kind of always working. You're never not working.
Never not working. It's like Troy Polamalu, Patrick, and me. Never not working. And let me tell you, it's great for the relationship at home. My wife loves with my walking
Big fan
around
of that.
with my phone, hearing sports talk in my pocket while I'm walking around. Is that sports talk in your pocket? Are you happy to see me? 1, yes. 2, no.
Honey, come to dinner. I can't. Oregon Gonzaga basketball on.
Yeah,
Can't
sorry.
make dinner tonight.
Sorry, Norlander
There's a
and
back football game on. I gotta watch
yes.
it.
It's a Tuesday. I know. Isn't it great?
Yeah, I know. Honey, I'll be there 15 minutes. Norlander and Parrish are getting into a really good discussion around KU right now. I'll be there. They're comparing it to St. John's and Rick and UConn. You get it. So, yeah, I'll be there in like 15 minutes. I'm just going to finish this quick. I'll be there, but Seren and Passon are going at it.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to turn this off right now. I'll be there in like 15, 20 minutes.
I think it was last Tuesday or Wednesday. Jeff Goodman tweeted, it was the night of Missouri, Minnesota. He's like, no offense to Missouri, Minnesota, but with no football on tonight, that's the only game you're getting. And people just lit him up. The MAC would like to have a word with you, Jeff Goodman.
No football on today. It's Maction, baby.
It's, Marshall and Western Michigan would like to have a word.
Yes.
Buffalo and Akron. Are you kidding me? There were 2 games that night.
And by the way, looking at it right now for the first time today, and I also wanted to see who we're going to hear from. So it's going to be Andy Reid,
It's
Travis
Travis
Kelce,
today.
and George Karlaftis coming
Yes.
up at 1 o'clock. How about that? I did want to hear from Juju. Because remember when Brian Branch and Juju got into that after the Lions game, Zaire Franklin of the Colts said that Brian Branch was doing the Lord's work because Juju needs his ass whipped.
Yeah.
Zaire Franklin for the Colts. And it's the Colts this weekend, but no Juju this week. Maybe that's on purpose. I don't know. But Travis Kelce, just don't ask him about the record because he does not care about said record.
Travis doesn't? He said that?
He said it when he didn't talk on Sunday after the Broncos as he was leaving and said, if you guys want to talk about the record, I could care less. And just kept walking.
You should probably care a little bit about the record.
I mean, it's cool, right?
It's the thing that gets you into the playoffs.
Well, he meant his touchdown record.
Oh,
yeah,
gotcha,
breaking
okay.
Priest Holmes for the most touchdowns in Chiefs history.
Yes.
He was saying about. I read it at first.
Did he say he
the,
could care less or couldn't care less?
I could care less, which means I care a lot.
He cares a lot.
Or maybe he doesn't give a bleep about it. Something along those lines. I'm not really sure. But those sort of games that we're talking about when, hey, Maction isn't there. Tonight, Purdue and Texas Tech play a nice little basketball game. Wisconsin BYU is a fun one. But maybe the most fun basketball game tonight could be right here in Kansas City with Nebraska and K-State. I mean,
let's go. A lot of points.
Two of the best three-point shooting teams in America.
Nebraska ball.
Nebraska ball. Fred Hoiberg's like, yes, this is my dream. I have 5 guys here that all shoot threes.
K-State's
like 4
got
times.
2 at least, Sharpshooter and Bashir,
Yes.
and Haggerty just it's so
averaging almost 30 a game so far.
Ryan Wallace, I don't know if you know him. He does a lot of the high school recruiting around Zone 3 and everything. He's a big Memphis fan. He's like, everybody's shocked that Haggerty just illustrates one point. Nobody watches Memphis basketball.
That's so true.
Why does not people not watch more Memphis basketball?
So true.
Kevin Holmes the same way. He used to live in Memphis. Huge. He's like, yeah, the cat's not out of the bag for me. I've known about this.
Apparently this PJ Haggerty guy's a bucket.
He's like,
who would have thought?
He wants to fire Penny because he lost him. Like, you're firing a lot of coaches then if you're losing great players.
But I don't know that people were like, hey, you're getting PJ Haggerty who's going to do 37, 8 assists and 7 rebounds. Or 8 rebounds, 7, whatever it was.
8 assists,
yeah,
and
8 assists, 7 rebounds.
And
37, 8 and 7.
He was at 5 and 5 in those 2 categories at halftime.
Yeah, so I mean, Haggerty is obviously a scorer and can fill up the bucket. I mean, he's averaging almost 30 a game. But it's the all-around, like this dude was just the best player on the floor, not the best scorer.
And Mississippi State just didn't bother, like, checking him.
Well, why would you?
Why would you? That's a good win, though. Mississippi State played, it was Houston tough.
Yeah. The Cats were underdogs. They were 2.5-point dogs
I was, and the way they had not finished games the last couple times.
100%.
Wes Peary is a Mississippi State grad. He's kind of back there watching it. And I'm like,
that sucks.
Yeah, the last 10 minutes, I'm like, hold on.
He's had a good 5 days against local teams.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
His, Mississippi State fandom.
We may or may not have got him credentials for both those games.
He lost by 20 in both.
Yes, that's right. And so, but K-State pulled away at the end and just kept scoring, and so that was good.
Actually, Mizzou beat him by 22. K-State beat him by 21. Sorry, dude. That's rough, but that was a fun game. And K-State's the underdog again tonight against Nebraska. They're 1.5.
I don't know much about Nebraska ball. I just know they
beat
scored a lot.
Oklahoma. They scored 105 against Oklahoma.
They scored a lot.
And they shoot a lot of threes.
I don't think the New Mexico game was probably much of a test for them. But be good. I mean, listen, as an AP voter, and still no top 25 team has lost to an unranked team yet, which is, I mean, the same top 25 is that I kept the same top 25 my second vote. I put one team in last week at 25, Missouri Tigers.
Homer.
You always. I looked of the 10 teams that I felt were on the cusp. They by far had the best win that week over Minnesota. Just a Big Ten team, and the way they did it, I'm like Indiana was close. But I'm like, no, the NC State was close. I'm like, yeah, good team, but they didn't. Who they play, and so that's why I've got Mizzou in there, and then K-State could kind of be in that category.
They beat Nebraska
next week.
Tonight.
If you beat Nebraska,
give them their first loss.
Feast week is gonna. It's be wild. It's gonna. It's
always crazy. But yeah, I said in the second segment. I know we got a break and hear from Andy Reid, but real quick, I said in the second segment today that K-State's win last night to me was pretty symbolic because it was at T-Mobile last year that the first signs of there's some issues with this team happened against Drake.
Oh yeah,
and then
Drake,
4 days later they got blown out by Wichita State.
Yeah.
While last night it's like, this team's different. This team was punking Cal, let their foot off the gas, survived in a wild ride, and last night they were punking Mississippi State and pushed the pedal down. And
they were never punking Tulsa. That was a close game.
That was a close
They were
game.
losing.
They were losing, and they found a way to win that one.
So you
close.
can actually say, okay, they finished better that game.
Yeah, finished better against Tulsa, had a huge lead, and finished strong against the team that you had a huge lead with. And now you get another test. Again, back-to-back nights, you are the underdog. There, and they won't have a huge home crowd advantage because there's a lot of Nebraska fans that are going to go to that game, especially with their team being undefeated tonight. But it'll be a fun one. If you're in the area, you just want to watch what should be a fun up-and-down basketball game. That's tonight.
Well, it's funny, of the 3 locals, KU by far scores the least. I mean, Mizzou put up 102 last night.
Yeah. They also play the most defense, too, okay? Mizzou and K-State are like, defense? Is this
That
like,
is true, yeah, they
Is
do,
it, so
yeah.
this is like an activity we
Yes.
do until we go score?
Yeah,
okay.
We gave up like 44 in the first half last night.
So it's not make it, take it. So when we make it and we can't take it, what do we do then? We have to play defense. Okay, so what happens when they score? You get the ball right back? Hell yeah, let's do this. Let them score. Now we get the ball back. All right. Nice little activity we're doing until we can score again. We'll take a timeout. More Zone next. All right, it's Fast Friday with Andy Reid. We'll hear from Travis Kelce and George Karlaftis as well. Yeah, I do like that.
Did you see that Texans used just 4 human beings to wreak a havoc on Josh Allen last night?
You know, it's funny. I compared it to what
I didn't think it was possible.
Yeah, I compared it to what Kirk Cousins said before the Texans game last year in the playoffs when he said, I watch Patrick Mahomes play quarterback, and I'm not sure we're playing the same sport, you know, as a compliment. And I said, I watched the Texans defensive line, and I'm not sure they're playing the same sport as the Chiefs defensive line.
I don't think so.
It looks different. Looks way different.
They're like... They're like dancing. I think the Chiefs are like the dancing sport.
Okay.
And the Texans are like, I'm going to run past you sport.
Yeah, they're you know what?
Tag.
The Texans are monster trucks.
It's like, Josh Allen's it. Let's go tag him.
That's right. Yes. Monster trucks playing tag, and the Chiefs are like, do we do the waltz?
Yeah.
Or let's tango? Because it takes 2 of us. And so Chris Jones is like, it takes 2 to tango, and 2 of you guys are trying to block me. Let's dance. And they don't get there. And the Texans were, good God,
at
they
one
were all
point,
over
it
Josh.
was Herb Street saying the Texans have gone back to a 4-man pass rush because they're able to get to the quarterback easier with 4 than 5.
That's crazy. Here's Andy Reid.
The injuries go. Everybody practiced today. We're going to end up listing Pacheco as out here in a minute. So look forward to the challenge of playing Indy. Heck of a football team. So again, we look forward to playing at GH Field, Arrowhead Stadium too. So one other thing I want to add to this: Alan Wright is going to the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. My hat goes off to him. Great job, well done. Can't go anywhere or do anything in this league without a great equipment guy, and he's the best. So, anyways, with that, time, yours.
Coach, with Pacheco, was it part of the plan, or was that a setback?
It wasn't a setback. We were just kind of seeing where he was at, trying to give him some work. He did some scout team stuff and, running around. It was literally just to see where he was at. And I think he's coming out feeling pretty good right now. So that's a plus.
How do you feel about Kingsley and then also Xavier?
Yeah. So Kingsley did okay. Now they're still doing all their stuff. So I'm got to wait for that. But it looked like he did okay today. And Xavier did a nice job too. He practiced today.
Coach, what's your assessment of Travis Kelce this season?
Yeah, listen, I think he's done a heck of a job. He worked like crazy in the offseason to get himself in tip-top shape, and what you have to do. You start reaching an older age, you got to work a little bit extra, and he did that. So it's paying off for him.
Thanks.
All right, go. There's Andy Reid with the injuries. Pacheco is listed as out. Not a surprise. He was practicing, but with the
downgraded yesterday. Went from FP on Wednesday to LP on Thursday.
And he was wearing the brace.
This was a big old brace.
Pretty big
Nick
brace.
described it as like, the braces the offensive linemen wear on their knees just to make sure they're masked.
Yeah.
That's what he's wearing.
Yeah. So I didn't look at that and go, oh, he's fine. He's good to go. But Kingsley still going through the protocol. And Andy Reid saying, but he looked good. He's doing okay, so he looked like he's doing okay. So hopefully that means Kingsley will pass the concussion protocol and play on Sunday. But as he said, Pacheco, we're going to list as out here in just a little bit, in a couple minutes. And then he was essentially saying, I haven't talked to Rick yet about Kingsley, which I'm surprised he didn't say that about Pacheco. But then Worthy practiced and everything looks good with him to play. And
you find all those positions to where, like, okay, you're fine. You can live with Caliendo. You can live with, Worthy has been just kind of absent.
Yeah,
you have some other options there, and then obviously you can live with Kareem Hunt and the rookie Smith and anybody else you throw back there.
Clyde.
So, it's Clyde. That's right. Yeah.
Or Mitchell. Or anybody. I mean, just live with them, You live with them.
Clyde wasn't active last game, was he?
No, he was not. Elijah Mitchell was active.
Mitchell.
Would have had a touchdown, too, but the ball was just thrown a little bit low. A little low. Got itself intercepted. But it wouldn't have happened if Juwan Taylor knew how to line up on Sunday. Other than that, though, it's all good, man. It's all good. We'll hear from Travis Kelce and George Karlaftis. Interesting, Andy Reid saying, he spent the offseason, got himself in really good shape. And so what about, what was he last year then? Were you saying he was in rough shape? No, I think everybody saw that. I think he saw it and had a bad taste in his mouth and took the offseason and busted his butt,
still be
man.
leading him in receiving, right?
Yep. Yeah, he is. He's been one of the best tight ends in the league. Kelce, I think is right now. Is that Kelsey? Is that Kelsey there? Because I'm getting a text that says Kelsey's coming. So, do you see the same text? You got your phone right in front of you. I'm talking to Michael, not Mick. I'm talking to Mickle, not Mick. So, all right, here's Kelsey.
Birthday man. Fire away.
Travis, you talked with your brother about saying this year's team, in your eyes, could be better than last year's team.
Oh,
Can you
yeah.
just expand on what you meant by that?
I just think the chemistry, how together we are, how much we're willing to fight for each other. I think it's not a matter of effort. It's all just execution. And, you know, we're in here every single day grinding our tails off, trying to get that fixed. And, you know, you feel it from the coaches. They're tightening things up a little bit so that we focus on those details and so we can play fast and you know, play with a purpose. And outside of that, I think the chemistry of this team is one of the most fun teams I've been on in a while.
You mentioned this team. It's a lot of guys that only know Super Bowl or AFC Championship game, right? They only know winning. You've been in a situation where you've lost a few games before. What's the mindset like, and what's your, I guess, what do you say to those guys?
Well, I don't know. I think every season's different, right? Adversity hits you in different ways every single year, and you know, the ups and downs of the season kind of mold you as a group. So, not to say that these guys don't know how to fight through anything. It's just, you know, you have to understand that, you know, just that every single season is different, and that, you know, our obstacles are going to be different, and sometimes it's just a matter of week in, week out, you know, being able to recharge, refocus, even after a big-time loss or a piled up a couple of losses and things like that. Like, you got to find ways to fight through that. You know, the energy may be different dealing with adversity in previous years than it is this year. And it's just, you got to make sure that you're coming into the building with the right mindset. And, you know, if losses do pile up on you, man, you got to have a sense of urgency and not kind of, I don't know, go into a shell, but you just got to come in chest up and ready to handle business, man.
Do you, Travis, we don't know how the season started with guys being banged up and not having everybody together, at least on offense, but over the course of the year, have you seen defenses approach you guys slightly differently now?
I think in general, I think we're getting a different version of every team's defense for sure, and it's just how I feel like teams feel they need to attack us defensively. You know, we're a veteran group on the offensive side in terms of Pat being able to do it, and Coach Reed's ability to scheme guys up. So it's just, you know, we're getting different looks here and there, but you know, I think the coaches are doing a great job of giving us looks throughout the week that have us prepared for anything, and giving us plays that we can go out there and make happen no matter what they're calling. So,
Travis, I'm not trying to make it seem like you never worked out until this offseason, but you obviously put in particular work this offseason. Are you seeing it pay off now as much as it did maybe early this season?
Me working out all offseason is a huge reflection of our team being a lot healthier than we were last year in the wide receiver room. I think what you're seeing is I'm a product of my environment right now, and I'm just trying to go out there and everything is, you know, predicated off of you know, how the offensive line does, how the guys around us do, and obviously the chemistry me and Pat have been able to accumulate over the years. But I think this year is just, you know, every year's different. You got to kind of attack it differently. I think in terms of athleticism and where I feel in terms of health right now, I feel like the offseason definitely helped me to at least get a head start on some of the wear and tear. So it's just the body feels better, but I think the production-wise, you know, our offense in general is having a better season than it was last year. So a lot more weapons, man.
Travis, Patrick said he didn't like being 5-5, but he was excited to see what was going to happen from here on out. I guess, do you get a...
I'm excited every single day we come into this building, man. There's still a chance I'm fighting, man. And I think right now it's a different season than we've had really in the sense I can remember. And with that being said, it's, you know, every single day is a new challenge, and I love that. I love that opportunity. We get a great football team that's playing amazing on both offense and defensive sides of the football. They got a great run game, pass game, playmakers all over the field. So And then defensively, they're very stout, and they're getting one of our ex-Super Bowl winners, Tarvarius, back this week. So it's only going to make our job a little bit harder, and we just got to focus, man. And but I got all the faith in the world in everybody in this building, and going out there and finding a way to get a win this weekend.
Travis, if I could take you back a few weeks, I don't think I got to ask you this after the game against the Commanders, but that was a game where you caught the touchdown to tie Priest Holmes, and there's a moment where I think you drop the ball and Patrick goes and gets it and makes sure that you get to keep that. Just what does it say about him, and what was that moment like for you when you realized he did that gesture?
I mean, that's my guy. He's been known to make sure that guys get those memorable or the memorabilia that's could be personal to them down the road. But yeah, that's just it's one of those things Pat's good about. Is his awareness is crazy. He knows when guys are getting their first touchdown or when they're getting their 84th or whatever it was I got. So yeah, he's unbelievable with stuff like that. And it's just another reason why he's one of the best teammates I've ever had.
Have you had time to reflect on actually being the record holder now?
No. Trying to win a football game this week.
Travis, you're obviously not under contract for next season. Just the way you feel right now is, what are your thoughts about that? And just timeline-wise, when would you want to talk to the Chiefs about whether you're coming back or getting a new contract?
I think seeing my brother go through it and seeing just how the league works. The season kind of restarts in April, and I want to give the Chiefs a good opportunity to whether I come back or not, and vice versa, like whether they want me back or not. It's one of those things where I'd like to make that decision before they got to get draft picks and the free agency opens, so that it gives them an opportunity to go out there and fill the roster appropriately. So all that will be at the end of the season, and I won't be thinking about it until then.
On that note, would you rather, go out? Because some guys want to do like a Kobe tour, right?
No.
That's something that you.
Listen, I love Kobe, man.
Yeah.
I love Kobe. I love everything about him, man. But that's not me.
Okay.
I like to take it day by day, year by year, and just evaluate it like that.
Travis, what have you seen from Tyler Warren, Colts young tight end? Is there anything about his game that you like, and is there anything that he does that reminds him of when you were that age?
I don't know, man. He's a big dude coming out of Penn State, man. He's an absolute force, and you can see why he's got a lot of success early. He's got how he ran with the ball when he was in college, his feel for zones, his ability to go up and make a catch over top of everybody. Just a big target out there, man. And I'm excited for his future, but hopefully we can hold him to a few yards this week. All right, now. Have a good one, guys.
All right, there's Travis Kelce. The Chiefs have been so good against tight ends this year, so you don't worry about Tyler Warren at all. That was sarcasm there.
Okay.
But there by Matt Derrick about have you talked to the Chiefs about your last year, your contract? I thought for sure he was going to say my contract.
We got some information there.
Yeah, right.
We'll know by April.
I want to give them a heads up that when we'll know by March, really, because when the free agency stuff starts.
Sure, yeah.
So he wants them to be aware of whatever his plans are well before they need to go out and sign anybody or draft anybody. So right after the season over.
So he's not going to go to Europe right before the season like Barry Sanders and do it then.
I think so. He's not going to do it like Andrew Luck in the preseason games at halftime of a preseason game. I don't think he's going to do that. I would doubt it. That'd be weird if he
Sanders'
did.
bad luck was so much worse.
Yeah, that would be weird if he did, and not going to have a Kobe tour. So if it's his last year, it's going to be
the last guy that wants a Kobe
Yeah, I know.
tour.
If it's his last year, it'll be his last year, and people will be asking if it's his last year, and he'll say, "I don't know." And
I
it'll be his
feel
last
that
year.
too. I've said forever at work.
Yep.
I'm gonna pull a Michael Scott. It's supposed to be my last day. They're gonna have stuff for me. I'm leaving the day before.
Yep, that's what she said.
This record after 10 games, I just wondered how the locker room is after dealing with a couple of losses back to back.
We're confident in our abilities, and we know what this team is capable of. Obviously, we're not happy with where we're at. And I had my coach in college, Mark Hagan, was like, if you're not happy with where you're at, do something about it. So I think that's the mentality.
George, speaking of college, you faced off against Jonathan Taylor, I believe, once.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
What do you remember about facing him in college, and how much has he changed since then?
Yeah, I mean, he was a beast in college, and he's a beast now. Just heck of a player, can do it all as a running back, and his numbers, his stats, and his resume all indicated that. So, we have a heck of a lot of respect for him and their whole offense, and we're gonna have our hands full.
George, the Colts use a lot of play action based off of their run as well. You've been pretty good at noticing those keys last week in Denver as well. Is that something that changes team to team without asking you to give away exactly what you're seeing from the school?
A little bit, but at the same time, as a defensive lineman, there's certain things that are just keys, like basically like Joe Collins big on just attacking your key and the stuff we work on in training camp that carry over into the season. And it's kind of just, if you see this, then that's gonna come type thing. So just more attacking your key, and we do a great job. Joe Collins, Alex, Lou, all the guys do a great job keying that stuff, so we're ready during the season when those situations occur.
What's kind of the mindset right now, George, amongst the D-line group as far as the sense of urgency that maybe is different this week than it was a week ago? Or is it different at all?
I'm not the sense of urgency. I mean, there's always a sense of urgency because we want to win every single game. Every single game is the most important game, and now it's like backs against the wall to just to freeze the conversation. So it's there's a lot of weight on us. And pressure creates diamonds. So.
Hey George, for the third downs, what do you think you guys can do better on third downs?
Just figure out a way to stop them. Again, I had a college coach was like, find a way to find a way. So just by any means necessary, get to the quarterback, we control what we can control as a front, and, back end spags and all that stuff. We do a great job and all that stuff. So just finishing, I think that's the biggest part because, game plan execution, all that stuff has been good. It's just finishing at the end of the day.
Couple more.
So a little off the wall, but Travis is 12 years older than you, and he came back and he's producing like he's doing now.
I'm aware of that, yeah.
Is it kind of amazing to see him come back this year and do what he's done?
I mean, to me, Travis is one of the greatest players to ever play this game, and the greatest tight end. So nothing that he does surprises me. On the field, off the field, he's a great friend, a great mentor, teammate, leader. I don't have enough good things to say about Travis. He's the best.
George, what is your assessment of the progress and the development of Ashton Gelati?
Ashton's getting better every single week. He's been thrown in the fire. He's gone through the gauntlet, much like, a lot of other younger guys have. Kind of reminds me of myself when I was around his, 3 years ago now. So he's getting thrown in the fire, and he's getting better every single week. He's asking a lot of questions. He wants to get better. He wants to be great. So he's doing a great job. He's going to continue to get better, and I'm proud of him and his effort.
All good. Thanks, George.
Thank you, guys.
All right, there is George Karlaftis. We'll take a timeout, come back, continue rolling. We'll get into what we think about the game on Sunday. College football ahead of us as well. We'll get into some of that. And going to ask Mick Schaefer something the Chiefs put out on TikTok that I really wonder. The age.
Two of my favorite things, Chiefs and TikTok.
Right?
And you.
Oh, two of the favorite things.
Those
Chiefs,
three,
TikTok.
Two of
those are my
favorite things.
It's two truths and a lie. And which one's the lie? I think I know. More Zone next. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Nick Schaefer's hanging out with us, presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. And the Kansas City Chiefs get ready for the Indianapolis Colts. College football this weekend, Mizzou and OU. That line continues to drop.
It wasn't like 9.5, right?
10.5 to 9.5 to 7.5, now to 6.5.
No way.
It's at 6.5 as of
Dang
this
it,
morning.
I should have got on it earlier.
Yeah, so you were going to take Mizzou plus the points?
I was going to take Mizzou getting the points, yes.
Yep. Well, it might be back up there. This morning when I put the format together, it was 6.5, so it has gone down, down, down.
I mean,
looks like Bo Prabula might be playing. He's been cleared to play in this game.
I believe in both of those defenses against those offenses, to where, like, I don't see many scenarios where Oklahoma runs away and hides in this one score-wise. So that is 11, isn't it?
Yep. And then K-State getting 17.5 at Utah tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
Again, that's a lot.
It is a lot.
I feel like that might be a reaction from the Oklahoma State game, and that's, I think,
feels
more
like
of a one-off.
But it's been bet up, though. It was at 16.5 earlier this week. It's been bet up to 17.5, and it's like, man, I don't know. I just feel like so much
of
of
the radar team. I've
so much of K-State feels
Texas
like
Tech and BYU this year.
So much of K-State feels like, well, what Utah does should be like every year with K-State, and it hasn't been as consistent as Utah has been.
Well,
and
Utah fell off the map last year.
Right.
They did not have a good
and they've
year.
got maybe the best offensive line in America, and two guys that might go in the first or round or first 40 picks or so, and then KU, that thing's been bet down towards Kansas, heading to Iowa State. It was 4.5 earlier this week. Now it's 3.5 for KU.
But the trend, they always win that game.
Yeah, I know, right? Lance Leipold can't beat Chris Kleiman, but takes care of Matt Campbell. So I don't know. Falls down a well, eyes go cross, gets kicked by a mule to go back uncross. I don't know. But yeah, offensively, KU's more explosive than Iowa State is. It's just, can you not turn the ball over, commit penalties, and defensively get enough stops or a turnover that your offense can go and play well there.
What's a better? Is this their better chance at Iowa State than Utah at home?
I think so.
Probably so.
I think so. Utah, and we'll find out tomorrow too when Utah hosts Kansas State.
Unless maybe they get an 11 a.m. game with Utah when they're on. That'd be like 9 o'clock body time for them.
That would be kind of fun. That would be great.
They might be Mountain. It might only be 1 year.
That was last week. The Chargers played in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And it was a noon game here, so a 10 o'clock in the morning game there. Weird, they looked sleepy in that game. The Chargers did.
Isn't the Chargers game at noon here?
Yes, it is. A noon.
Take advantage of that. I think it is, yeah.
Chargers, noon, yep. And they not only that, but they play Monday night the week before. So they play the Eagles on Monday night, then come to Kansas City to play a 10 a.m. game for them. So, yeah, that's nice. They should get a break in the schedule from time to time, the Chiefs. I mean, it's ridiculous what's going on. They just can't get a break ever.
I mean, they have had, the toughest schedule of the last 7 years.
It's weird. The NFL keeps screwing them over. Like, every year, it's like they play a first-place schedule. Every year, it's like, hey, here's a first-place schedule for you. It's unbelievable.
And it's different now from, 2015 when you're playing a first-place schedule. A, you have one more game against a great team from the NFC, and then B, we are going to put you on prime time on every holiday possible now.
You want to play on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday? You want to play? Yeah, we're going to play.
Yes,
you want to play in Brazil? We'll play in Brazil. You want to play in Australia? We'll play in Australia. Oh, God,
and
they better not play in Australia.
It's kind of funny. I like how honest they're being. The NFL's like, yeah, this is what comes with it, Chiefs. I mean, you want to. I mean,
Right.
you're people watch your games, so we're going to do this to you.
It was
this
either
is how it happens.
It was either last week or the week before they put out the top 5 highest rated games, and the Chiefs were 4 of the 5. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. You're either watching to root or watching to hate. Yeah. I did find it funny though last night when not funny that the ref got hurt with the torn Achilles.
The same crew that did the Chiefs game on Sunday,
Yes.
and they love their flags.
Right. But I found it funny that there was one site that said, man, shout out the referee, man. Pour one out to another injury for the Chiefs.
It was Barstool.
Was it Barstool?
Which is just the most hypocritical
totally,
thing ever.
Totally. It was
for 20 years.
Yes, it was funny. But Barstool being a New England sort of spot, it was fun. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's pretty good. except for the fact that crew just did that Chiefs and Broncos games where they flew through 10 flags on the
and the
on
Chiefs
field
are
for
5-5.
him. Yes, right. It's not this year. I talked about this earlier this week. Like I think it was with you. Roger Goodell should be fired.
Yes, right.
You
Yes,
should
he's
fire
doing
Roger
a
Goodell
horrible job
because
at
they're not
helping the
making
Chiefs.
profits anymore.
It's funny. I don't think, okay, once this Chiefs dynasty ends, if it ever ends, right? I don't think I'll ever be the guy, because I used to be the guy like, Patriots are getting all the calls, the fixes, and they get all the calls. I don't think I'll ever be that guy again because we've lived it on this side of like, okay, they're not. You're just having to hear that. So it's funny and ironic that Patriots fans still do that after having to hear it for a couple decades. And that they didn't learn that, like, okay, that's not really a thing. It's just something you say to really great teams to vent frustration.
Yeah. But Michael, you would agree that KU gets all the calls at home, though, right?
Oh, of course.
Okay, I'm just making sure we're all on the same page with that.
Different.
Totally, yes. We're all on the same page with KU gets to cheat at home. I just want to make sure that, NFL, they're not favoring one side or the other. Chiefs are not getting every call. The Patriots didn't getting every call.
It has nothing to do with
Allen
that team
Fieldhouse,
being better.
totally.
I actually do think college basketball officials favor the home, or they get caught up in the crowd and the home side a lot,
especially when it's like a point guard / against like a big man. And like a collision at home.
What color uniforms in this scenario would they be wearing?
Some could say gold. Some say yellow and black versus a mythical creature for the other team. Like I don't know. Okay. I'm not really sure. I'm not thinking of anything specific here.
Sure.
I'm just saying like that typically is when the refs usually favor one side over the other to an extreme.
What about and just throwing out a scenario?
Yeah,
here.
for sure. I get it.
Like a foreign player who's in college, going for the game-winning shot, and he picks up his dribble at half court, yet is still able to lay it in for the game winner, maybe against a purple team.
That's called a Euro step. Okay, he's from Europe, so he can take the Euro steps. So you didn't know about the Euro steps. So now you know.
Plural, then
now you know the Euro steps. Now you know.
Euros step.
Euros step.
Why do you think Jerome Tang went and got so many European players on his team?
That's it.
It's like that's not happening to us again. No. I saw what happened to Bruce Weber. Nope, not going to happen here in Manhattan. I'm going to get the European players.
That would have been 2018, something like that. Anymore, they don't call traveling. They don't call that at all in college basketball.
In the NBA, I mean, he could have probably backed it out. He could have probably got there, then took a step back.
Have you seen the NBA sites that will basically defend every non-travel call? And it
was a gather step.
It's a gather step.
And
then once he gathers, he's allowed 2 more steps.
Yes.
And then after that, he's established his pivot foot. He can take 2 more steps.
Yeah.
Oh, he lost it in midair. He can now recollect and do it again.
I know it looks like 3 steps, but when he picks up the dribble, his right foot is barely off the ground. Therefore, the left foot hitting is the gather, and then you're 1-2 right left. It is not 3 steps. It's a gather. He's just so good at it that his right foot comes off the ground right as he starts to gather, so it looks like 1-2-3. Sorry, you're just not as skilled as he is. So,
no ball.
Where's Sterling? Where's Sterling?
You
don't know ball.
Everybody in the face.
You don't know ball. Why don't you know ball? Okay, you don't know ball.
I tweeted out the and thankfully I'm great at not responding. The Franklin false starting right before the game scene catch the other day, and I even said in there
I know you
wasn't going to matter.
Right,
doesn't matter that I said wasn't going to matter.
I didn't look at your replies because I knew what they would look like.
Exactly, and so everybody I got a couple he's off the line of scrimmage. He's allowed to shift. No ball. I'm like. I'm not going to respond to you.
The people that say no ball, I mean,
they rarely no ball.
100%, man. 100%, dude. And I can't remember which one it was, but it was and
by the way, somebody did actually send me back one of Rashee Rice false starting that same game.
Yeah.
And
your reply is,
he's like, the Chiefs never got, I'm like, yeah, okay, that was a bad crew. That should have been called.
Yeah, the crew sucks. I'm just saying the crew sucks. It sucks. Also, Romo said that Jalen Watson was pointing at him to point out his assignment.
He didn't know.
Who's he supposed to guard? He's pointing at his assignment. Good God, Romo.
No ball.
No ball.
Come on.
But there was one guy, he ended up deleting his tweets because there was an argument about intentional grounding. And the guy got outside the pocket, but it fell like 5 yards short of the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
And it was and some dude was like, he's outside the pocket, he can throw it wherever he wants. Learn ball, dude. Learn ball. And everybody's like, didn't get it past the line of scrimmage. Doesn't matter. How about you learn the rule until you come and talk? deleted all those tweets.
You know what I learned, and it came up last night, and they were kind of iffy on it, but I learned at the Pitt State Northwest game, because I feel like D2 refs
If you
do it really
fumble,
good.
you're not allowed to recover your own fumble.
that is true. So when you're outside the pocket and you're throwing it away, and to avoid a intentional grounding call, you have to get it past the line of scrimmage, extend it out of bounds. That's it.
Last night it happened.
So it happened last night.
Yeah, Davis Mills threw it. It left the field of play 2 yards
Couple
short.
yards short.
But it traveled past out of bounds, and the referee pointed right there and
he
said, "We're good."
Which that makes sense to me. It's easier to call. As I always thought it was going to be like, hey, when you go out of bounds when you're carrying the ball, when the ball and you're somehow supposed to spot it when it crosses out of bounds. So I always took it that way, but I learned, it's the line of scrimmage extending out of bounds, which makes it easier to call. Like, okay, that landed here. Yeah, okay. It's a half-yard pass.
So now you know ball.
And now I know ball. Now I know ball.
Now you know ball, man. Hanging out with Mick Schaefer. He is presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. Let's get into this Chiefs game, and they get ready for the Indianapolis Colts, and it's one that we've been talking about how crucial it is all week long. Interesting, Karlaftis, he was first asked about a sense of urgency, and he started to give the generic response. And it was, well, I mean, every game, there's an urgency to every game because we take every opponent seriously every game. But then he actually told the truth, and he said, but now, our backs are against the wall. And there's a lot of weight on us. Pressure creates diamonds. And this is yet somebody else this week joining Patrick Mahomes that has said, yeah, this week is different. Yeah, you're putting in extra work. Yes, you're showing up and staying late. Yes, this is like a playoff game. Yes, as someone that is a leader, I have to lead by example, so doing that. And guys are challenging themselves to break through and get to that next level. Karlaftis, our backs are against the wall. Because last week, well, you're coming off the bye. You lost to the Bills. The AFC West is on the line here. Well, it's a big game, but every week's a big game. And they look like they approached it as in like every game's a big game. And now Mahomes saying he's kind of excited. And I actually think, Mick, there's an excitement from Patrick Mahomes because for so many years they have just get through the regular season so we can play some awesome, fun games of playoff when it matters, and we got to rise. We got to take our game to the next level. Finally got to where we want to be. That there's probably an excitement for Patrick Mahomes because he doesn't have to wait 7 more games to get there. That now it's like, here you go. This is what you've had to wait throughout the seasons for to get to the playoffs. You're playing those games now. So I can maybe understand where Mahomes is saying, yeah, we're not where we want to be, but there's a level of excitement of getting ready to start this 7-game stretch run because it feels like it's going to be playoff games almost every week.
You're not going to talk me into picking the Chiefs this week.
What are you talking about?
All right? You're not talking me into that.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
No way.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I've talked myself into stuff like this season for this team. I'm done. I'm done reading between the lines of what others saying and all that stuff.
I picked them against the Bills and Broncos.
And I believe the part about, like, yes, every game, you can treat every game like the Super Bowl. They're a week apart, right? I'm like the only guy in the world that listens to all of Lance Leipold and all of Chris Kleiman every single Monday. It is hilarious and amazing how similar these guys talk. They say the same stuff. And so when they're both playing each other this year, they both said almost word for word, like, I mean, yeah, it's a big game, but is it more focus? I mean, does that mean we didn't have all our focus last week? And that mean we didn't put as much into our game last week? No, it shouldn't be that way. So, and then they would kind of walk it back and say, yeah, but we get with the fans and all that stuff and the importance and the meaning of all of it. But yeah, I feel like in an NFL season, any football season, the games are so spread out that you can put all of your eggs in every basket every week. Now, look, 17-game season in the NFL, a team that's been to 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls, won 3 of them. They play 3 or 4 games after the season.
Mm-hmm.
I will allow that, okay, there is a load management thing. There are different stages of the season. It is a long game you're playing to where you may be not putting every single thing, especially with play calls and and carries for somebody else and targets for a certain person. If somebody's can play but doesn't need to, maybe they don't need to. I get that. I'll allow that for the Chiefs. And so, all that being said, I think they can win this week, but I don't know if it's like a motivation thing. With football, I've always wondered, I mean, like, you talk, you're high or low or whatever, you get out there, you hit for the first time, I feel like you're all just in the game, right? And it's about execution, it's about planning at that point. And maybe it's, okay, Wednesday, I was at the stadium a little bit longer and I watched more film for another hour. Maybe that matters, but I don't know. I'm not picking the Chiefs, Jason.
I don't think it's possible for any team to go through a football season and have the same approach every single week to the same team.
Right, and it's hard too. Like Bill Self's talked about this. He's like, people, you'll think every game that I'm working my hardest, I'm doing my best, but there's almost always a level higher that you maybe don't realize. Nobody comes out of a game like, well, I gave it 75%. No, you always think you gave it 100. Right. Then you go back and you look, okay, I could have done this, and that. And I think you're right there to where, like, it's impossible to give 100% every time. But come on,
you can't do that every game.
We didn't defend well.
You can try to do that, but Mario, he played well today.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Gary.
I have gone back and forth on this game, man, and it's like, all right, I'm done picking the Chiefs until they show me that I should pick them.
That's where I'm at. Put a period right there.
And then I say, I can't pick the Chiefs to be dead until they're dead. I'm like, I don't know. It's the angel and the devil on the shoulder, and the devil's like, don't pick them. They haven't proved you. They can't win a close game. The angel's like, but they're not dead yet. We haven't seen them here.
They're better at home this year, which goes against trend. They've over the years, especially with Andy Reid, been a better road team.
Yeah, and so
I feel like anyway. I don't have the stats in front of me.
I mean, against all odds,
I don't think the Colts are the toast of the AFC. I don't think when it all settles, they'll be better than the Bills or the Broncos. They have a better record now, though. And so this is more like last week going into that game, I'm like, well, I'm going to pick the Chiefs at home against the Colts, but just kind of seeing the egg that they laid in Denver, I'm like I said, I'm tired of talking myself into things. And they could win, but I don't see, just all these signs pointing towards it.
Yeah, I think there's a decent chance that this time next week that they're 6-6. And also there's a chance that they finish 11-6. Because I think they can win Sunday and lose on Thursday to the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. And then the schedule the rest of the way, home, at Tennessee, home, at Vegas. Where Texans, Chargers, Broncos at home. And then Titans and Raiders on the road. Do you finish with 5 consecutive wins? Or I guess that would be, 5 consecutive wins the rest of the season.
10-7.
10-7 is going to be nip tuck.
with right now, not a lot of tiebreakers.
Yep. Yeah, and that's why I think you'd be better off getting to 11 wins if you can.
You would be better off.
I think you'd be
pretty much every year.
Get to 12. If they go 7-0, I feel good about them making the playoffs here. Sterling has it 27-23 Chiefs.
Okay,
and there are 3. I can be of 3 minds here. Usually you're of 1 mind, then you're of 2 minds. I can be of 3 minds.
0.
One of them being the angel and the devil that I just talked about, while the third mind being, well, if they win, are they going to win a close game? Because they haven't done that this year. So if you pick them to win, don't you have to pick them to win by more than a score? Because they haven't won close games while the Colts are winning close games?
Who's going to outscore the Colts by 2 scores?
Oh, my God. I don't know, 28-24. Chiefs, I guess. Whatever you got last year, add 20%. 28-24 Chiefs. No chance Michael got that one. Sterling 27-23 Michael, and then we'll go to Mick's pick of the Colts.
If you guys remember in the preseason, I picked the Chiefs to lose this game.
We don't remember.
I had that one circled on the calendar like, the Chiefs are not beating the Colts. And I thought the Colts would be a much different team.
I did not even look at the calendar this morning, so I didn't see the circle on it.
I feel
squared it.
Very hurt by the Chiefs in my prediction because I picked them to win.
It's personal. I take
almost
it personal.
every single year. I've taken it personally. I've cleaned things up. They haven't. And so
I've been cleaning my predictions up all year.
I'm going to pick the Chiefs to win 24-20. I don't like it.
24-20.
I don't like it at all.
So Michael, Sterling, and I all have a 4-point win.
I like more points than this.
The Chiefs, 24-20, 27-23, 28-24. Mick,
I like your 28 pick for the Chiefs, but I like a 31 for the Colts.
Okay, 31-28 Colts. Yeah, this is one of those to where it's like, oh, no, wouldn't surprise me. Really, any score.
Hope I'm wrong. 50-0 Colts. Hope I'm wrong.
We're going to go to break, and Mick's going to go, I hope I'm not wrong. I hope I'm right. So everybody sees how smart I am. Idiots. You done picking the Chiefs every single week? Because now we're back to, I can't pick the Chiefs to do this.
I feel like everybody knows how smart I am. I don't need to get anything more right.
Boy, that's a great point. Yeah. I agree with that. Everybody does know how smart you are. And I think predictions are really how you base your intelligence level.
That's it.
Most IQ exams are what's going to happen in a football game tomorrow.
If you don't get most of them right, you're an idiot.
Yeah, it's like, why do you think Forrest Gump was so damn smart? That's what I read in the movie, right? The book was all about his high level of intelligence. It's what they said when he was at boot camp. You must have a IQ of 160. That's what they said. So I read IQ 160, Forrest Gump. Smart guy. Good at predictions. We got the cuts next. Oh, yeah, the NBA stars, they are rolling along. We're a few weeks in. It's wild. Stars are going off. Rookies making noise, and the action does not stop, and it did not stop last night for Tyrese Maxey. A phenomenal game last night. A 50-burger, wearing those jerseys, looking like AI. Look, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is where you can get in on all of it. Don't forget the Emirates NBA Cup rolling along. Big moments, big matchups, and a whole lot on the line. Don't miss out. Jump in and bet on the action today. And in fact, new customers bet just $5 and get $200 if your bet wins, paid in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code 810WHB. That's code 810WHB. Bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, Kansas only. Eligibility and restrictions apply. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
All right, Michael just ruined my day. Michael's like, oh, we're going to be shortcuts today.
Michael, my day's not ruined yet. You did not ruin mine.
Come on, let's go. Bring it, Michael. Bring it.
My wife used to teach high school there.
Oh, God.
Can we not? Why? Just saying. I spent some time there.
Okay. So here's I gotta ask you: did you ever get in trouble in a basketball game that you were attending, a high school basketball game? For what? No, here we go. And for what?
For heckling the other team.
Yeah.
What? How old were you?
Oh, probably.
He was a man because his wife worked at the school.
Oh, that's
so he was,
true. Actually, sorry.
He was a grown
28.
Yeah. That's not. That's
He thought he was gonna say I was 12 or 13.
Like 4 times in a row, the other team would go to the free throw, and I can make this really loud, obnoxious noise.
Let's hear it.
No, please don't.
So right before
Come
they
on, one
shoot it,
time.
the gym would go real quiet, and I'd make this noise.
Okay, go. Jim's quiet. Here we go. Jim's quiet. Free throw.
And you got kicked out?
No, the athletic director said, "Hey, we need you to stop doing that." I said, "Why?" I made him miss 4 straight free throws. He's like, you need to knock it off."
You're a grown. Like maybe the kids could do that,
Right.
but like not a grown man.
28 years old.
He was a husband of a member of the faculty.
And I was probably about a pint deep.
That happens to us all. We all get old and pathetic. If we wanted to trade him right now, we could get 10 first-round draft picks. Who gives a shit? Because we don't know what they are.
There was some people upset on Monday, some callers. They had dropped an S-bomb.
Don't take my bit. We're going to start naming a moon around Uranus.
Oh, okay. Remember that one. See, Sterling's here today.
Thursday night football. I'm in Missouri. I can't use FanDuel, and I wish I could because I'm looking at this Buffalo Bill Houston Texans line, and I love the Bills in this one. I'm putting my Sterling stamp on it.
Oh, you put the Sterling stamp on the Bills, baby. What happened? I didn't see the game.
Maybe he adjusted the line to like.
Bills. Yeah. Luckily, he was in Missouri yesterday, so he could not lose money by putting a Sterling stamp on the Buffalo Bills. He put a Sterling stamp on K-State to cover the line against Cal. They were up 23. They didn't cover the line, though.
They did not.
And his Sterling stamp on the Buffalo Bills to beat the Houston Texans.
He knows ball, though.
He does. It's just a guy named Jeff Ball. So Lonzo and
Blue Valley North class of 2013. Yeah.
Jason was on a roll like Continental.
I actually like that one. That was pretty good. Because I felt like I was on a roll, like a gravy train with biscuit wheels. I was rolling, man. Just on a little rant there. That was on Monday, too. Mick, have a good weekend, man.
I plan to.
Yes.
Can't wait.
I'll see you Sunday.
See you Sunday.
I'm going to sound
I'll see
off.
you Monday.
Oh,
you sound off so hard.
I am going to sound so off.
Happy
on
Chiefs noon game, by the way.
Yeah, no doubt.